Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here with this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm going to show you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. So let's kick off now by looking at the nature of solar eclipses, which are basically new moon eclipses on steroids. The new moon is always when the moon and the sun make a conjunction. Now, when this happens and it's triggered by the proximity of one of the nodes, in this case it's the North Node, it will, in traditional interpretations in Western astrology, cause events to happen of a significant nature in your life, either a week before or a week after the eclipse. In this case, the eclipse is falling on the 29th of March. And we can see the repercussions of those events for up to 6 months afterwards, it's believed. But one of my teachers has illuminated the fact that we need to consider the eclipse to be active whenever the sun moves within 19 degrees of the nodes on either side. And this is the eclipse season and activation that we will enter into. So we've been in an active phase of eclipse energy for this solar eclipse since the sun was at 20 degrees of Pisces on the 10th of March. That's Australian time. And we'll stay in this activation phase until the 17th of April. So that is the phase of activation. And of course, this crosses over with the lunar eclipse activation phase, so you can get a mix of both eclipses playing into your life at the same time because their activation phases intersect. Now, interestingly, just before an eclipse, especially a solar eclipse occurs, it has been recorded scientifically that there is a drop in the Earth's electromagnetic emissions. And more research is coming out indicating that we are energy receptors as human beings for electromagnetic emissions. So therefore, we feel and notice the energy changing in the electromagnetic emissions that causes events, that causes feelings, that causes upheavals and different perspectives and acting out or introspecting or retreating from the world or whatever is represented by the nature of the eclipse. It manifests in our existence because, like I said, we are receptors of energy as human beings. So because the Earth scientifically has a drop in its electromagnetic emissions because of the eclipse, we feel this in our lives and it displays in our lives. Now, in mundane astrology, which is world event astrology, solar eclipses, which I'll just add, are rarer to see than lunar eclipses. Lunar eclipses are usually visible from up to 50% of the area of the Earth, while solar eclipses like this one, new moon eclipses, are visible from a much smaller area of the Earth, and we'll explore this when we look at where this eclipse is going to be visible. But in mundane astrology, new moon solar eclipses will affect the leadership. Bring it on. We might see changes in leadership, changes in who is governing countries or who's kings and queens or who is in charge of the company or who is, mayor of the town or whatever. There are changes in leadership. We might see effects playing out in how the leadership interacts with the people as well. I'll explore this a little more as we go along. Now, any changes that come with a solar eclipse will always be caused from the outside in. This is opposite to how the lunar eclipse works. So the outside in, we have events that happen in our life and we're like, oh my gosh, and these are external impacts which we need to adjust to and adapt to. And so the external events cause an internal adjustment in us, whereas it's the reverse in the case of lunar eclipses. Now, some astrological texts indicate that a new moon eclipse is felt stronger by anybody who is born in the day. So if you have a day chart, if you're born during the daytime when the sun was above the horizon, this is because in some types of astrology, the sun is considered more significant indicator in the charts of people who were born in the day than the moon is. It's the more prominent and significant and impactful luminary. Whereas if you're born at night, it's the moon that's the more prominent and significant luminary in your life. So that difference between day births and night births. So this being a solar eclipse and a new moon eclipse indicates that if you're born during the day where the sun is the key luminary, you're going to feel this much stronger than perhaps those born at night. Now, eclipses mark a major turning point in life. All eclipses, lunar or solar. Basically, the universe is intent now on moving us forward to our destiny, and there will be no going back from whatever occurs. You know, a relationship ends, you are unlikely to go back to that person. A job ends, you are unlikely to go back to that job. Your time in a certain area, living in a certain community might come to an end. You won't be going back to that community. So whatever happens, whatever occurs, there's no going back. The universe wants to push you forward, move you into a new state of being, move you into your destiny. And this is especially true with this solar eclipse because it's conjunct with the North Node, which is one of our destiny points in astrology. Now, the energy with this solar eclipse is all about realigning with our purpose, realigning with the intent that we came in with this particular, our soul, with this particular incarnation. Anything superfluous to our intent and our direction in life will be let go of. That's what can happen with a solar eclipse. But remember, my friends, whatever happens now is always for your highest good. And with that in mind, remember to act towards other people with kindness. Remember to forgive where necessary. Remember also, you might be the one letting go of somebody, or that somebody else is letting go of. And keeping these things in mind, it's all okay because it is for our highest good. It's moving us towards our destiny, even when it's painful. We don't owe anyone anything, and neither do we own anyone. The only thing that we are required to give to others in this lifetime is kindness. Kindness is at the top of the tree, and this includes kindness to ourselves, my friends. Now, all that said, as I've mentioned, this eclipse is with the North Node, or is being caused by the North Node, the destiny point. And it's a new moon eclipse, which new moons always indicate significant new beginnings, as I described in the Patreon video that started off this particular eclipse version. So the new moon is to make new beginnings. The North Node is to move into our destiny and to start going towards our purpose. And so this eclipse is much more likely to be welcoming new things in, starting new beginnings, rather than ending things or seeing something depart. So keep that in mind. All eclipses can see something leave, but this particular eclipse is orchestrated and designed to bring new things in. So if something leaves, it's creating space for the new that wants to blossom, the new that wants to be born. And that's going to be the emphasis with this eclipse, much more than the departing, the ending, the leaving. Now, with solar eclipses, they tend to generally create new beginnings and bright new opportunities. Even when they're with the South Node, that can happen. When a solar eclipse occurs with the South Node, the emphasis is very much on a significant ending to herald a significant new beginning. In the case of this one here with the North Node, it is an emphasis on bright new opportunities that come flooding in, new beginnings that come flooding in, and new starts. So that's the emphasis. It's so exciting to tell you that, my friends. And there may even be some news of big life events that are going to affect you now. So pay attention from the 10th of March until this eclipse on the 29th, and even until the 17th of April, which is the activation period. Keep your eyes peeled. Keep looking and noticing any significant life events that occur, any sort of feelings that bubble up in you that are directing you to think about certain things, or a certain place, or a certain job, or a certain person, because this is the time when those events are very important and we need to notice them. Often there'll be a random event happen that we didn't expect, and it's an exciting time of change. So pay attention to all events, all news, all gossip, all interactions that you have within the eclipse season, because they're going to be very important in your life going forward for the next 6 months. So my friends, eclipses are always about flow. Always about allowing in what needs to take place, not fighting it, not trying to push your own agenda. It's about going with the flow. You can't fight the astrological influences. And this will be an important turning point in your life, especially if you have planets or certain important degrees at 9 degrees of Aries. This is an important turning point in your life. A complete change of pace is now at hand. Now, if this eclipse happens to be falling on your natal sun placement, so if your sun's at 9 degrees of Aries, if you were born with around the 29th of March, this is going to be a key year in the course of your life. A key year of change, a key year of growth, a key year that you will look back on for the rest of your life as an epoch, as a shining or a pivotal moment in your life for some reason. Also, if you're a Leo rising, sun or moon person, you too can be more affected by this eclipse, because the sun, which is the main emphasis of a new moon eclipse, the sun rules your sign, Leo. So it's your governing factor, and it's getting significant activation at this time. So Leo people will tend to feel this eclipse very strongly. Now, eclipses that are in the same element, like if you are, let's say, have some sort of fire sign energy in this case, because this eclipse is occurring in fire sign Aries, this can create a general friendly activation for you, because if you've got Leo placements, if you've got strong Sagittarius placements or Aries placements, then there's this trinal capacity playing out here between yourself and the eclipse, and that brings a more friendly expression of whatever this eclipse is going to do in your life. Very exciting. Now, what does it mean when we have a new moon in Aries generally? What are the effects of a new moon in Aries each year that are going to be amplified, like on steroids, because of the eclipse falling in Aries in this case? Well, Aries always indicates that there are some sort of gradual life improvements taking place whenever we have a new moon in Aries. So that's amplified now. The opportunity that we will get to take some sort of new initiative in life and push our life forward in some way will also be one of the hallmarks of a new moon in Aries, amplified by the eclipse being here. Aries is all about brand new starts. It's the traditional first sign of the zodiac, and therefore it's all about beginnings. So some brand new beginning is emphasized and amplified now with an eclipse falling here, a new moon eclipse falling here. It's time, my friends, therefore, to make plans for the year ahead. What do you want to see manifest in your life? Where do you want to see your life go? What do you dream of accomplishing in your life in the coming year? Make these plans now. This new moon eclipse can be your friend in that way. And we'll talk more about the moon Kesenya activation energy of this new moon eclipse shortly. But when we have a new moon in Aries every year, particularly amplified by this being an eclipse, it's all about embracing bravery in your life, embracing courage, embracing determination, and embracing self-assertion. You know, it's not about, as I said earlier, forcing the energy in your life to go a certain way or certain outcomes to happen, but it is about asserting yourself, you know, standing up for yourself, not being a doormat. That is absolutely true with Aries energy. Remember that this is the first sign of the zodiac. And so there's this childlike energy that is associated with Aries. It's considered to be the child of the zodiac. And think about a little child in an ice cream store. Oh, I want this one, mummy. I want the rainbow ice cream or choc chip or whatever it is. I want this one, mummy. And usually our good mother, Gaia, the mother goddess, she will seek to provide for her child what they would like within reason and within what is best for her child. So an eclipse energy in Aries is very important because it raises up in us our desire for new things, our desire for new starts, our desire, like the child in the ice cream shop, for a certain flavor of life to be ours. And that is one of the reasons why we can present our requests to the divine now, to the good mother Gaia, or to whoever you see as a representative of the divine in the universe. We can present our requests now because Aries energy is about having a desire for something, asking for it, knowing that the good mother will take care of her children within reason and within what is best in terms of outcomes for the child. So I love a new moon in Aries for that reason. First, as I said, first new moon of the astrological year, very powerful, very important, and when it's an eclipse, even more so. My friends, let's take a look now at the chart of this particular eclipse and all the things that are going on here on the 29th of March for this partial solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries, which is where I've got the sun here. and the moon. Now, the moon is coming between the earth and the sun. And this happens at every new moon, actually. So this coming between the earth and the sun is not rare. However, what is rare is the exact alignment of the moon with the sun. So we'd have an ordinary new moon in any given month, and the moon might be a little bit, out of the declination of the sun, so not aligning directly with the sun. But in an eclipse, because of the proximity of, in this case, the north node, the alignment between the sun and the moon is getting towards exact. This one's partial. A full solar eclipse is the exact version, but we're coming before the sun, and this is known as cazimi energy. The moon is right before the sun. In fact, the moon is blocking the light of the sun. So the moon is essentially blocking the light of the sun for those of us on Earth, of course. So the moon is coming before the sun and presenting her requests to the sun. And this is one interpretation of why we make wishes at the new moon. And every month I have a particular video focused on making wishes with new moon energy at the Patreon family. So cazimi energy is very powerful. A lot of astrologers don't understand cazimi energy, and they'll tell you that it's Mercury cazimi when it's not, or it's Venus cazimi when it's not. But every eclipse, new moon eclipse, it is actually like a moon cazimi with the sun. And so we can manifest, we can present our requests to the divine. It is a great time to do that. Even though eclipses are wild cards, even though eclipses are unpredictable, it is still a very powerful time to manifest our dreams under a solar eclipse, not so much a lunar eclipse. That's a different energy. This being cazimi is very powerful for presenting your requests to the divine, to the God of the universe, or God of the solar system, as we say. So this partial solar eclipse is happening at 9:57 p.m. and 39 seconds. That's Australian Eastern Standard Time. Now, you might hear some astrologers say that this eclipse is occurring at 8 degrees and 59 minutes of Aries. Not true. The exactitude will not occur until the sun is at 9 degrees and 0 minutes of Aries, and the moon catches it and makes the cazimi at 9:57 p.m. and 39 seconds Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that is why it's 9 degrees of Aries and not 8 degrees and 59 minutes, okay? Now, also at 9 degrees of Aries is the fixed star Algenib. And I'll just draw a fixed star on here, just so we know this. Algenib. Now, whenever we have a conjunction of the sun amplified by an eclipse occurring at 9 degrees of Aries conjunct with Algenib, it can bring a whole lot of manifestations that we don't even otherwise know about into our lives, unless we understand the energy of the sun with Algenib. Now, it can bring mental disturbances in the leadership. That could be the leadership of a country, the leadership of a corporation, the leadership of a local government, the leadership of a club, whatever it is. Mental disturbances can show themselves in the leadership now. Hello, I think we see that quite often in certain leaderships around the world. But this can include depression or melancholy amongst leaders now. And this mightn't even be that evident until the leadership is put under strain for some reason. Emotional strains can take their toll on the leadership now. Fevers, ill health, even danger of accidents can occur amongst the leadership with a solar eclipse occurring on Algenib. Now, in a birth chart, a conjunction of the sun with Algenib can give really good effects in terms of advancement in business and advancement when you're dealing with the public, popularity with the public, prestige in religious affairs, and success with writing. So if you've got this natally, it has a bit of a different effect than what we might be seeing in the leadership. But generally, for most people, as a result of this particular passing transitory energy on Alganeb, we might be able to have more likelihood of getting what we go after now, which is a very Aries energy anyway, which is that you'll find that the fixed stars often feed into the sign placement, as is the case with Alganeb. So Aries likes to go after something and get it, and with Alganeb it's the same. So this eclipse can cause that to be amplified as well. In the negative, for the general populace, we might observe people being more hypocritical, more sarcastic, more emotionally tense, more accident prone because of this eclipse. So be careful in that activation period that I described, especially because the Saras cycle, which I'll talk about soon, of this eclipse portends to these things as well. You know, all these things I've just described with Alganeb actually line up with what the Saras cycle is warning us about with this eclipse too. So keep that in mind, double whammy effect. So combine this with an out of bounds Mars, the ruler of Aries, the ruler of this eclipse, and this star, Alganeb, can really generate a fighting spirit. Now, unfortunately, because solar eclipses are all about the leadership, not so much the masses, we might see this fighting spirit taking effect in the leadership. You know, the leadership of countries, the leadership of corporations, the leadership of your local Lions Club. A fighting spirit might start to bubble up. So you might experience that to some degree on a personal level as well, but I do believe that we're going to see that taking effect more in the leadership, out there, rather than so much in our personal lives because of Alganeb with the solar eclipse. Now, as I said, the ruler of the eclipse is Mars, not in a helpful sign for Mars. Mars is not that comfortable in Cancer. They're too polaric, the energies. Mars is a go-getter, it's a fighter, it wants to get things done, and Cancer's gentle and flowing. It's a water energy. They do have a similarity, though, Mars and Cancer, in that they're both into guardianship and protecting, fighting for something that they hold dear to their heart. Both Mars and Cancer can get on board with that sort of thing. So we might see themes of that kind of effect playing out in the world around us or in our personal lives with this eclipse. But the ruler of this eclipse, Mars, is out of bounds, which means that it's beyond the declination of the sun, beyond the boundaries of the sun. So it's a little bit out of control, a little bit wild. So this eclipse, again, could be a wild ride, my friends, even though it's only a partial eclipse, not a full total eclipse. So we could be having quite a wild ride, unexpected events, accidents, as I've described with the conjunction with Alganeb. And also the Saras cycle too. We could have quite a wild ride. So be careful with what you do, who you associate with, the choices that you make. Just be careful about those sorts of things. Don't be afraid. But, if you're going to go water skiing, well, wear your life vest, floaty vest or whatever. Just cover all your bases. But don't do anything silly. So, as I said, a wild ride with this eclipse can be physically, can be emotionally. Cancer is emotions after all, and the ruler of this eclipse is in Cancer. So you might have an emotional wild ride with this solar eclipse also. Let's have a look at the eclipse itself. Well, and the reason I'm moving to having a look at the eclipse itself is because, as you can see, there are no aspects forming from this eclipse to anything else in the chart. But we do have, as I mentioned, this strong stellium focus here in the signs of Aries and latter degrees of Pisces. So this is where so much energy is focused over the next few months. Actually, we've got Neptune changing signs over the next few months. Saturn will be changing signs in this vicinity. Venus is currently retrograding here. Mercury is currently retrograding here. The focus for all of 2025, and this eclipse is feeding into it, is on the shift from one state of being, Pisces, the final sign of the zodiac, into a new state of being. And you're going to notice this so much. In fact, I'm noticing it already this year. The big significant shifts of life are occurring in 2025, taking us from an old paradigm to a new paradigm. And that's what this stellium is speaking to. This eclipse and the stellium, out of sign though it is, all about ending the paradigm that you've been in to move into some other kind of new paradigm. Very exciting. very a little bit scary, maybe, because you just don't know what might come of it, but always something interesting and exciting and fresh and new coming out of an eclipse in this realm of the chart. Let's talk about the eclipse itself. When an eclipse occurs, the moon, well, a new moon actually occurs, and so it's sort of on steroids, as I keep saying, when it's an eclipse. The new moon causes the moon to become dark and invisible in the sky for the 3-day period of a new moon, which includes a solar eclipse period as well. And lots of ancient mythologies talked about this 3-day period. You know, Jonah 3 days in the whale, Jesus 3 days in the tomb, and there's many other mythologies talking about 3 days of darkness, Inanna going into the underworld and coming back out again. It's that same darkness and emergence to light, which is what happens whenever we have Venus retrograding, Mercury retrograding, and of course eclipses as well. We have this period of darkness and then re-emergence into the light. It's a beautiful mythology, and it shows up time and time again in many, many cultures. So this 3 days of darkness of the moon, it's a time for becoming introspective. It's a time for weighing up our inner world. And this means assessing how we feel at the very core of our being. No more hiding things away in the basement. Our weaknesses, our struggles, our darkness, they all can come up for us to process now and to see the light of day under a new moon influence. So you can expect, my friends, that deep things will be being revealed to you as a result of this eclipse now. Now, as I've already talked about, the moon becomes cazimi at new moon eclipses. So contrary to the usual new moon state of affairs, for those within the visual path of the eclipse, it actually can be a powerful time to manifest things in your life, and as I talked about, presenting our requests to the divine. So very much introspect, take the time out that you need to understand what's in your heart, what's on your mind, what's going on in your soul right now, so that when the moon becomes visible 3 days after she has gone into this lost in the glare of the sun period, and she emerges out the other side as that sliver of a new moon, at that time you can start to take action on the things that you have presented to the divine. Like you might write in your journal, I would like to achieve this year. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I want to dissolve in me. This is what I want to heal in me. Write it all down in your journal. Give it over to the divine in prayer, or however you like to do that. And then when the moon starts to be visible in the sky, take action to make those things manifest in your life. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there is a Saros cycle associated with this eclipse, as there is with every eclipse, and this one is known as 9 New North. Now, lunar Saros series, which is not this one, this is a solar Saros series, but lunar Saros series they run for about 800 years, and they begin at the equator. So the first lunar eclipse in any Saros series will begin at the equator, and it will contain about 45 to 47 eclipses per series. That's a lunar Saros series. This is a solar Saros series, and they're part of the same family of eclipses. They're all connected to one another. But the solar Saros series starts at the North Pole or the South Pole, and it runs for 1400 years long. So they're all part of the same energy, but they have, the solar series has a different length that occurs every 18 years, but runs for about 1400 years. And of course, as I said, the lunar eclipses run for about 800 years, but they're part of the same family of eclipses, and therefore they're all connected to the initial chart of the family. Not the chart of the, when the first lunar eclipse occurred on the equator as part of this family. No, that's irrelevant. They're all, lunar and solar, are both part of the same Saros series, the same family of eclipses, in this case 9 New North. And so this Saros cycle began on August 21st, 1664, and it's going to finish on the 18th of September, 2908. So 2908, long way in the future. And so this is an eclipse cycle that's playing out over many of our incarnations on the planet. This series of eclipses, and remember they repeat every 18 years, they're not part of the Metonic cycle, which repeats every 19 years. That's a different energy connected to the moon and its lunations, not to the eclipses per se. So this series of eclipses carries, as I said, the energy of the initial eclipses in the birth that was part of the initial birth chart of this family of eclipses. Now, according to my teacher Bernadette Brady, this is a very physical family of eclipses, and physical in terms of our physical energy and the physical experiences. So with this eclipse, we might see many more accidents or violence or sudden physical events. And with the ruler of this eclipse out of bounds, hello Mars, and this eclipse conjunct the fixed star Algeneb, this is greatly increased because we've talked about those things being a likelihood anyway, and here it is with the Saros cycle. Now, it's just so interesting to me at my work. I have a day job, obviously, and we had an incident where a drill broke as part of the equipment that's used at the place of work that I have. It broke in the activation phase for this particular eclipse. Definitely an accident in the physical realm, not to the body, but to, and Mars, of course, rules machinery, I'll just add, and is the ruler of this eclipse. So that happened, and then within a day, we had another drill break. So these sorts of accidents and these sorts of Mars-like events will show up now because of this eclipse energy that we're in. Now, Bernadette, my teacher, suggests that the approach to take with an eclipse like this, and I'm going to quote from her here, is not to hide away, but to undertake some sort of physical activity with an ever watchful eye to safety. So as I said, go water skiing with your life jacket on. You know, wear a helmet if you're on the skate ramp. You know, whatever you need to do to just incorporate safety into what you're doing is just intelligent under this eclipse energy. And don't be surprised if you see certain, accidents and mishaps or breakages and things like that happening as a part of the next activation period, because that's the nature of this eclipse. Now, where, my friends, is this eclipse path going to go? Well, let's take a look at time and date, and it will show us the activation path of the eclipse. And remember, wherever the eclipse is visible, it is likely to be felt and experienced at a greater level, because it's what we call visual astrology. If you can see something in the sky, it is more likely to manifest powerfully. And in ancient times, in ancient Babylon, if they knew an eclipse was going to be visible in the sky, they would do all sorts of things with the leadership, particularly a solar eclipse, all sorts of things with the leadership, because they felt that if they could see the eclipse occurring, it was going to affect their country. So they would remove the original leader, the king of Babylon, and they'd replace it with a sort of a dummy king person who, if something was going to happen, it was going to happen to the dummy king for that particular period of time while the eclipse was active. And often, if nothing happened to the dummy king, then they'd kill him at the end of the period anyway. So the poor guy, who'd be a dummy king. And then, of course, the original king would jump back on the throne. Pretty crazy. But that's when they could see, or they could predict, that the eclipse was going to be visible in their part of the world. So let's take a look at where it's going to be visible in our world. And with that in mind, there might be some change of leadership there that goes on, a bit of shuffling around happening. So here we are, my friends. Here is a beautiful little map from time and date showing us where this solar eclipse is going to be moving through. And mostly it's going to be, as you can see here, up near Greenland, across the northeastern territories of Canada, a little bit down into some of the northeastern states of the USA, and of course a little bit on the edge here of Europe and Africa as well. We've got Norway, Finland, and Sweden here in the path, along with Great Britain. So this is where we're going to see the solar eclipse. So if you want to get out there and have a look at the solar eclipse, this is where you need to go. Let's have a look now at another map, which is very helpful as well. Time and Date is a wonderful resource for understanding and seeing where the path of eclipses will go. And here we are with another one showing the globe and where we'll see it on the globe. So here we are moving through Africa and Europe and Asia. There's Australia down the bottom and moving right round, and there's South America and North America. So you can see there it is again up in this little patch high up in the north. So I hope that helps you understand where the eclipse path will be, where you need to get to if you want to see this eclipse. So jump on a plane and away you go. But that is where we will be seeing it. And these are the countries, these are the areas that are likely to feel the most effects of this particular partial solar eclipse. So, of course, we've got Greenland and Canada being the main recipients of the effect of this eclipse. And certainly those two countries have been in the news a lot lately. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they will be affected in the next 6 months as a result of this solar eclipse moving across their territories. So, my friends, what happens if you have key planets in your natal chart around 9 degrees of Aries or square or opposing 9 degrees of Aries, and only allow a 2-degree orb here for a really true effect to be felt? You know, only 2 degrees either side of 9 degrees, so 11 degrees or 7 degrees of Aries, or the other cardinal signs, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn. If you've got planets or degrees like your ascendant, descendant, midheaven, or IC there, then you might feel this eclipse very potently, you know. You can also, to a lesser degree, consider having planets at between 7 and 11 degrees of the fire signs Leo and Sagittarius to get sort of more of a blessing out of this eclipse. But I am going to be talking about the eclipse energy and how it's going to be interacting with each and every planet that you might have in the extended version of this video, available for purchase on the website, or join the Patreon family to get access to this particular video breakdown. And so if you've got that, it's going to be well worth checking out the Patreon video. And now it's time, the time you've all been waiting for, the breakdown of how this eclipse is going to affect each and every sign and what it's going to do in your life. And away we go. So we're going to start with Aries, because Aries is where the solar eclipse is occurring. So naturally enough, Aries goes first this time. Remember, this is an eclipse, my friends, Aries rising, sun or moon people. This is an eclipse occurring at on the 29th of March, a partial solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries. And because of this eclipse, we can expect sudden changes in our life, sudden new beginnings occurring. An important turning point arrives in our experience of life. We could also be initiating new things. We are required to use our bravery, our determination, and our self-assertion right now as we bring in our desires for new beginnings. So what is happening here in the first house for Aries people is that there might be a relationship starting in some way. Remember, this eclipse is being caused by the North Node, and if a relationship begins, it's coming in because it's part of your destiny. Now, that could be any kind of relationship, a relationship with a new audience, a relationship with a new client, a relationship with a new business partner, and of course, a committed relationship of some description, a new boyfriend, a new girlfriend. That's one way that this can express. We could also get some intuitive insights about our body, our physical health, our ability to exercise, our appearance. So trust your hunches now, Aries, about how this is expressing in your body. You know, you might decide on a new hairstyle or a whole new wardrobe. You might decide that you've got to undertake some new exercise program in order to get back to a peak level of fitness now. And this is a great energy. This eclipse energy is a great energy to use it for that purpose, to get back on track with your physical health, with what you're eating, how you're exercising, and the lifestyle that you're living, in order to protect you, in order to survive better on the planet, in order to thrive in general. Now, there might also be, for Aries rising sun or moon people, some changes that lead to them to experience more entrepreneurial options. So, for example, you know, it could look like something occurs that you see perhaps as a little bit negative to begin with, like the loss of a job or having to relocate or something like that. But realize that because the North Node is involved, this change change will lead you to perhaps starting your own business, or creating some sort of side hustle or entrepreneurial endeavor or new creative project that needs to happen as part of your destiny, part of your purpose in life. So trust the changes that come in that are leading you to your destiny when it comes to something entrepreneurial or some new creative endeavor. This is also a very healing placement, Aries. This is an energy of maybe healing the body, finding restoration, finding solutions, finding answers for maybe a physical ailment or a restriction in the body in some way, or a restriction in the soul. You can really have an aha, epiphany, lightning bolt moment that shows you the new direction to take your life in order to feel better, to feel like you're thriving and flourishing instead of struggling. So this could be a really empowering time for many Aries people. Also, whenever we have an eclipse like this falling in the first house of us, it can actually bring us a greater level of popularity. So if you've got a presence on YouTube or on some social media platform or something that you wish would just, have a bit of a boost, this could be just the energy you've been waiting for that can give you some momentum in that regard. Remember, the first house is the house of self. Me, I, who I am. And so this is applicable for the rising Aries sign, and it also is applicable when we cast a chart from our sun sign or our moon sign. And that's actually why we include all three, and we encourage you to look at all three signs, because they are all applicable. The two luminary positions in your chart and the rising sign, if we cast a chart from each of them, then we can actually get a fuller picture of what's happening in our life. So the first house is the house of the self. And a new moon falling in our first house, in this case Aries, is a great time, a new moon solar eclipse actually, a great time to make a reinvention of self, to re-express yourself, a whole new you. So you might be redoing your image in some way, getting a manicure, getting in some new outfits, I've already mentioned that, haircut and so on. The reinvention of the outer expression of you is fruitful when you have an eclipse like this falling in the first house. And it's a good time to really concentrate on looking your best. Now, I know Venus is currently retrograding, and when Venus is retrograding, where we can be less inclined to worry about our appearance, we might get a little bit more feral and not care. I've just been on a holiday myself, and I didn't wear makeup or do my hair for a whole week, and it was wonderful. Total Venus retrograde energy. But when we've got the eclipse falling in our first house, it's very important to make ourselves look our best wherever we go, because you never know what opportunities, what people you're going to meet, what new starts are going to occur in your life. And if you're dressed, my best friend Becky always says, dress like you've got somewhere better to be. And, if we're dressed to the nines, it'll help us feel our best. It'll help us really have confidence in ourselves. So you never know what's going to happen under this eclipse. So make sure you're always dressed and ready for any occasion during this eclipse activation season. It also can be an energy, this eclipse energy, of increasing our stamina, increasing our confidence, and increasing the positivity of our overall approach to life. So lots and lots of benefits with this eclipse energy. It's a good time, I think I've already mentioned this, for doing an internal overhaul as well, looking at who you are, where you're at, what's happening in your life, and where does it need to change. This is an energy of change. Also assessing how you're coming across to other people, how you're expressing yourself. This might be a focus of this time too, and it might be an enlightening time, an epiphany time that promotes you to want to get into some sort of change that better reflects the inner you, to start acting and living in a way that is more a reflection of your authentic self. Instead of sort of hiding who you are when you're with others, you might actually be full of desire now to really live your truth and be honest and be real and be authentic instead of pretending. Now, Aries energy is not inclined to wear a mask or put on a false facade. They are who they are. What you see is what you get. But for many Aries people, you might have placements in Pisces. For example, you might have your sun in Aries, but you might have Mercury and Venus in Pisces that can contribute to times when you do put up the mask. So this is really speaking to people this little piece of what I'm talking about is speaking to people who maybe have a tendency to hide who they really are around others, and we all can do that from time to time. This is an energy when you start to drop the mask and start to live your authentic truth and be really yourself, and start to see blessing flow from being truly, fully present in who you are and the personality that you've come to express in this lifetime. Now, some of you might feel more energized by this solar eclipse occurring in your first house. This is good because you're going to be very busy. Aries, this is an energy for bustling, for hustling, for getting the job done. And you might be feeling more eager about life now. You might be more capable of putting more enthusiasm and energy into whatever you do, as is the nature of your sign, Aries. So it's a really good time for trying new things because you're going to be energized to do so. You're going to want to meet new people. You're going to want to have new experiences. You are going to feel more courageous and more daring, and you should run with that. You should enjoy that, grasp that, live that. It is good. So consequently, it's a good time to try something that you have been a little bit hesitant to step into in the past. Now's the time. The time is right. Take that leap. Take that risk. Jump right in. You'll be less likely to shy away, and you might find that you can actually, whatever it is, you can actually achieve a great deal right now. It is also a time for being in the spotlight. Now, Aries doesn't usually shy away from being in the spotlight, but if you are somebody who feels a little bit uncomfortable, being up front, being on stage, being, present in front of people and that kind of thing, or even on Instagram or, TikTok or social media of any kind, this is a time when you're not going to be afraid to jump into that. Being in the spotlight won't feel so uncomfortable. You'll be more inclined to put yourself out there, and you probably will attract, as I've already said, more popularity, more attention for doing so. So it's time to embrace that and get the most out of this blessing eclipse energy for you. Now, I have so much more to share, Aries, I really do. And for full details on your sign and the extra little tidbits about what this is going to be all about for you, you can get the report from my website, simply purchase it and download it, or you can actually buy a Patreon membership and find the video there. But for all my Patreon members who are watching this, my friends, it's time to dig in a little deeper. Thank you, Aries. Moving along now, we're going to move backwards through the horoscope, but forwards by house placement. So that is taking us to Pisces. Pisces, who've got this monster stellium in their first house at the moment. So, of course, lots happening in the lives of Pisces people. Lots of upheavals for Pisces because of that stellium. But we are having, if we're Pisces rising, sun or moon, the eclipse fall in our second house on the 29th of March, partial solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries. So it's in the second house that we might expect sudden changes and new beginnings to arrive for us. An important turning point in life is about to unfold for us in our second house realm. We're going to be initiating new things to do with the second house as a result of this energy. We want to utilize our bravery and our determination and our self-assertion in second house realms. And we're probably going to find that we desire new things to do with the second house as a result of this eclipse energy too. So second house is anything material that supports our journey through life. We're going to be wanting to have new material things. So maybe that could look like, upgrading your wardrobe or getting a new car or, finding a new place to live, or it could be new food, a new diet, new values that we're embracing. Let's explore all of this for Pisces people. There can be, as a result of this eclipse, as I've just mentioned, a change in our value system, Pisces. We might have valued our role in the city and our contribution to city life, our contribution to our suburban community, and we might have really valued the barista that we saw every morning that gave us a coffee on our way to work, and valued the lifestyle that we had. Maybe that was our value. Second house is what we value. But then along comes this eclipse in the second house, and we suddenly are like, you know what? I still value this, but I think I would value maybe a lifestyle in the country even more, where I can have my own chickens and have an orchard and grow my own fruit and veg. I think I'd value that more than my contemporary modern city lifestyle. So that's just an illustration. We're talking values here. What do you value, my Pisces friends? What is right up there on the this is most important to me list? Well, your values might be going through some sort of a change in dynamic as a result of this eclipse energy. Remember, solar eclipse is about starting something new. And with a solar eclipse in the first house, you might be starting something new in your life that's going to allow you to be more self-sufficient. Now, by self-sufficiency, Pisces, I'm not necessarily talking about having the chickens and the orchard and the veggie patch. That can be the case, but this is actually the second house, the house of our resources that we provide for ourselves. So that could be earning enough money to buy the car that we want. Maybe we've got a big family and we need an SUV, or maybe, we're empty nesters now and we want to buy a car that is more suited to our empty nester lifestyle. So it's about having the money and the facilities, the resources that we need to live our best life. So that's what I mean by self-sufficiency. What money have you got, have you saved, have you created in your life that it allows you to live the life that you want, that materially, second house, supports your journey in the body. Because the journey in the body is seen through the first house of you, and sitting right under it is the resources we need for that journey in the body. So it's your resources, your car, your food, your orchard, your chickens, whatever it is that allows your body to have a good journey through life. So with that explanation present, know, my friends, that you will be starting something new that allows you to have more money for the lifestyle that you want, for living according to your own resources now. So for some Pisces people, that might look like getting some money for a property that they want to invest in. It could look like getting, buying some chickens to fill that chicken coop. It could look like getting a car that suits your lifestyle right now. Whatever resources, there could be starting something fresh and new occurring for you now. There's also potentially, Pisces, a real turning point with a financial situation as well. So in the best possible way, this eclipse could bring in new financial opportunities that you did not even see coming. Remember, this eclipse is a wild card. It's ruled by Mars. Mars, for Pisces people, is your most important prosperity planet. For all Pisces rising and Sun and Moon people, Mars is the most important because Mars rules the ninth house and the second house, both wealth houses. And here it is, most blessedly, sitting in your fifth house. So Pisces, this is actually good energy for you guys to have this eclipse in your second house, because the ruler of the eclipse is also the ruler of your financial prosperity in your chart for all Pisces people, and it's sitting in the fifth house of luck and blessing. So this is my point, Pisces. There are new financial opportunities coming your way. Keep your eyes peeled. Trust your intuition now, because great financial and resource blessing may very well unfold for you. I'm very happy to say, Pisces, as a result of this eclipse. So I'm excited for you, Pisces, at what this could bring, but you must have your wits about you and your awareness about you so that you grasp the opportunities when they arrive. Also, Pisces, this is an energy of trusting your intuition regarding what feels safe and secure, because the second house has to do with our safety and our security. What we need to feel safe in the world, what we need to feel secure in the world. So for some people, it might be that, having that SUV allows you to feel like, okay, I feel safe now when I'm traveling with my family. That makes me feel secure because all my children have the appropriate seats and there's enough room for us, and this is a big unit, so I feel safe when we're traveling on the big freeways together as a family. Trust your feelings about whatever feels safe, whatever feels secure for you right now. Now, it could be anything. I've used that SUV as an example, but it could be anything at all. What makes you feel safe and secure in the world, Pisces? Think about it. Ponder it. Write it down. Do you have what you need to feel safe and secure in the world, Pisces? Well, if you don't, this eclipse may present you with the opportunities to instigate changes in your life that allow you to feel safer, that allow you to feel more secure in any facet of life right now. The second house, as I've already mentioned, rules our disposable income, the income that we have that supports our body's journey through life. So, of course, this is the house of money matters. And this could signal this eclipse here could signal that you have the strong desire. Remember, Aries is desire and asking Mother Gaia for our desires. There might be a strong desire to increase your income as a result of this eclipse. And so in that sense, there's, like I said, going to be opportunities for you to do so. Fantastic. On the flip side, though, this is also the house of where we spend money. So you might be actually having more opportunities to spend money, to, throwing it round left, right, and center, not saving it. So depending on your financial circumstances in life and your ability to do so, will determine, where that energy plays out, whether you're growing your financial resources, your money resources, or spending your financial resources or money resources. If you do have to spend money during this eclipse activation season, make sure it's on something that's actually very necessary, not something that you'll regret later. Use wisdom, keep your feet grounded, be wary of impulse buying under this eclipse. There's fortunately no aspect to Uranus that gives sudden woof, I'm going to just spend money on this piece of furniture even though I've already got 20 items the same at home anyway. Not like that. Uranus can give sort of sudden impulse to do things and that we regret later. So that's good that this is not quite so strong, but we still need to be very conscious. We still need to be very aware. It is a good time to buy things that we need, because under this eclipse energy, we're less likely to have buyer's remorse, So if you've got a big purchase that you need to make, this timing could be very beneficial. So just as an example, I'm actually thinking that we may need to buy a new bed. So it's probably a very good time to visit the store and start looking at a big purchase like that with the new moon eclipse falling in the second house. If you are looking to rebudget, to streamline and get your finances under control, this is also a good energy for it. Plan a budget now. Stick with that budget now. This is a great energy to support that happening. It's like a fresh start, a new beginning, new moon, new beginning that will take you more into your destiny, Pisces, by establishing a new way to deal with your material items and your material status. So, a new budget for your money, a new way of, taking care of your resources, your car, your home, your furniture, all the things you need. It's a time for reinventing and reestablishing how you're going to handle your stuff. The second house, as we know, also rules values, and that includes our self-esteem. So a lot of Pisces people will be seeing a positive increase in the way they feel about themselves as a result of this eclipse and our sense of worthiness. It's a great time, therefore, to work on personal growth, to increase our sense of self-worth, because as we feel, so we attract with the second house. If we feel worthy of the good things in life, we are more likely to magnetize them to us, Pisces. So this is a really powerful time to up your vibration, to up your level of worthiness, and therefore draw more good things to you in life. So work on that. How can you work on that? I think one of the things that I used to use, and it was such a blessing in my life, it really changed how I lived and brought me to this wonderful position that I find myself in now with my own astrology business, and after 14 years being single, married to the love of my life, etc. I used to fall asleep every night listening to Louise Hay on YouTube for free, talking of her 101 power thoughts for life. And that really grew my sense of understanding, okay, this is the philosophy I want to live by. This increases my sense of love for myself and my self-worthiness. So that was just one thing I used. There might be a million different things out there. If you want to leave a comment in the comment section, Pisces, why not? Encourage other people to look at different ways they can increase their self-love and their self-worth and be blessed under this eclipse by. So work on your personal growth in whatever way feels right to you and is good for you. Also, the second house has to do with our sensory experiences. So this is a great time to grow our physical experience in the world. So physical stimulation, get a massage, have a facial, enjoy some lovely food, you know, go out and have a, it's funny, on this eclipse, it's near my daughter's birthday, not on my daughter's birthday, but near my daughter's birthday, and we're all going out to a wonderful ice creamery in town, which is very second house, to go out for ice cream. You know, these sorts of sensory experiences, something yummy, something delightful, sense of touch, taste, sight, sound, smell. Enjoy that stimulation, because you'll actually feel it more intensely under eclipse energy, and it can cause you to really experience a heightened sense of happiness as a result. Now, Pisces, as you know, I have so much more to share about what this eclipse is doing in your life. It's already pretty good, but I've got heaps more to tell you. For full details about your sign, and there's so much more in the extra video, downloadable from my website, or you can join the Patreon family. The link's in the description below. It's time for us now to go deeper if you're a Patreon member. Thank you, Pisces. Now we're moving through our horoscope to Aquarius. Aquarius rising, sun or moon people. Well, the eclipse for you guys is falling in the 3rd house, down here in Aries. And this is happening on the 29th of March, a partial solar eclipse at 9 degrees. Now, because of this, this is where we can expect, in this realm of the chart, sudden changes, new beginnings, an important turning point arrives for us. You are initiating new things, my beautiful Aquarius people, and you're going to be able to do so with bravery, with determination and self-assertion now, and also the desire for new things might be happening for you in 3rd house realms. So 3rd house realms include your point of view, your mental perspective on life, and for Aquarius people, this brings big changes in your point of view, big changes in your mental perspective on life, and the way you think about things is about to go through some change. So maybe the way you think about your wife, maybe the way you think about your husband, maybe the way you think about the community that you live in. Big changes in your point of view through something external to you, some circumstance that is playing out now. Trust your intuitive hunches. This is one of the houses of messages from the gods and psychic downloads. So trust what your inner knowing is telling you. It won't lead you astray now. You can trust it. There might also be, for many Aquarius people, some sibling or a neighbor, some relative who is changing the dynamic of their relationship with you in some way. Sometimes we see a relative or a sibling or a neighbor moving far away with this energy, change in the type of connection. Even if they live in the same town, maybe you're just having less to do with them now. Maybe you have more to do with them now. The change is not defined. It could be anything. Remember, this is a wild card energy. The ruler of this eclipse is Mars, and Mars is out of bounds, so it could go either direction. But this is also the house of news. So you might find that there's some sort of good news that arrives in your life now. Something that you didn't expect, something that comes out of the blue. And it brings a turning point in our life with an eclipse like this falling in our 3rd house. A turning point arrives in our small business. If we run a small business or have a side hustle in some way, there's a turning point. Maybe we're actually been learning piano for years and we just feel like we can't break through the next level of piano capability. This is the house of our skills and our talents. And lo and behold, we have an eclipse here, and suddenly, boof, it all makes sense. It all gels. We get that download, and suddenly we can play like Jerry Lee Lewis. So talents and skills, business ideas, buying, selling, trading can go through that turning point, that shifting, that new momentum. Now, like I said, in ancient astrology, this was the natural house of the moon, and the moon being invisible here might actually mean that the divine wants to speak through you, but it's not going to come into your awareness until the moon becomes visible, because the moon is invisible at a new moon. So probably a couple of days after the eclipse, you'll feel a message for humanity coming through, but it'll come as a result of the circumstances of life you experience during the 3-day darkness period. So, for example's sake, you might observe how people down the street are all eating, what they're eating, and you're just observing and taking it all in during the dark of the moon. And then as the moon becomes visible, you have an epiphany. People are eating too much gluten. People are eating too much carbs, too much grains, and they're not living the healthiest life that they could. OMG, I've been observing, I've been taking it all in and processing it all. Now I realize, and I think I need to tell people, have your message for humanity. So that tends to unfold as the moon becomes visible, because this is, as I said, eclipse is taking place in the natural house of the moon from ancient times. Now, when we have an eclipse, a solar eclipse in the third house, it's a realm of new beginnings. And this energy of this solar eclipse is all about new beginnings. So new communications. You might be starting a new website, starting a new social media page, There can even be an increase in busyness, because this is a house of being busy and being restless. You might have a lot to do, a lot of places to go, a lot of people to meet. There can also be an increase in the amount of communication that you're having under this eclipse energy. That could be in person, it could be over the phone, it could be by email or computer or by social media or some other means, but you are busy, 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 my beautiful Aquarians. You can also have a lot of success gathering information under this solar eclipse as well. Learning things, arranging things mentally in your mental library so that things make sense. At last, I get what they're talking about when I listen to that podcast. That all like ching, 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 ching falls into place like a good jigsaw puzzle. You can collect information and arrange it in a way that works for you now in your mind. Getting information, understanding information. So it's a great time to do workshops, to learn a new skill, to go to a cooking class, to learn some practical, useful information can be very valuable now. Day-to-day activities are also represented here, and this solar eclipse, which is all about moving into your destiny, moving into a new start, can actually bring about something that allows your future day-to-day activities to feel more profitable, to feel more in alignment with who you are and what you want. So it's refurnishing, rechanging your day-to-day activities that now feels more in alignment with where you want to go and who you want to be. There is, with this eclipse energy, solar eclipse, in the house of restlessness, you might feel a bit bored. Now, you're not going to be. There's going to be plenty to do and plenty of things to pique your interest, but you might feel a little bit bored. So it's a good idea, my beautiful Aquarius friends, to have a stack of books by the bed. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit bored because I've got 2 minutes to spare. I'll grab this book. Or maybe I've got to take the kids to the emergency room. I had to do this a couple of weeks ago with my son who broke his arm, and I was like, I can't stand to just sit there and wait and wait and wait, so I'm taking a book. So have some preparation ready on hand so that you won't experience boredom. You're not going to be having the chance to be bored. It's going to be busy, like I said, but you, because you're mentally so active and tuned up and heightened, you might feel bored. So having some things to alleviate that is a really good idea. This is also a great energy for making decisions, making choices, quick decisions. Under this energy, you might just make a decision. You want to cut and run from a certain situation. You might want to, just impulse decision. I'm going to go and do that shoe pastry course, or I'm going to learn leatherworking, or whatever it happens to be. Just an inspirational, spur of the moment decisions that come from the divine, that come as a message to spirit. It's also, like I said, a great time to learn a new skill. And it's whatever skills you learn, whatever skills you undertake to implement into your life, they're going to be part of your destiny. They're going to be part of your future. So don't ignore any promptings that you're getting from spirit now. It is time to learn a new skill. It is time to up-level who you are in that way. And feeding the mind through information, through skills and learning skills, of course that helps you not to be bored, and of course that helps build your future when there's a new moon occurring as a result of being close to the North Node. You might be spending more time with relatives, neighbors or siblings here. Like I said, there could be a change in dynamic with them. And so, if you've had a difficult relationship with them, you might find that this is an energy that gives a new start to the relationship with them. A refresher, a rebuilding, turning over a new leaf energy with some sibling, some neighbor, some relative. This, as I've said, is a restless energy. The third house is restlessness, so you might be feeling quite restless as a result of this energy. So it is a good opportunity to take a bit of a short trip, day trip, travel to a nearby town, up and go on a whim, take a bike ride, move from A to B, whatever that looks like, is a good thing to do under this eclipse. And you never know, it could lead to opportunities, some sort of understandings and enlightenment that you never even realized might be available to you. So definitely very good energy for taking a trip. It might be very good also because this is the house of our shared community, like our environment, our shared environment with others. So this could give you an opportunity to participate in some community activity. Maybe you're going to volunteer locally or join Neighborhood Watch, or maybe you're going to have a market stall for a side hustle that you've created or something. Great energy to instigate something new, some new involvement in your shared community under this influence, of course, as well. Aquarius, I have so much more to tell you about this eclipse, and it's all available for you at the Patreon page. So if you're a Patreon family member, you're going to find out so much more about how this is affecting your sign. But if you don't want to be a Patreon member, you can purchase the extended version of this video from my website. So simply head there, or head to the link for the Patreon family in the description below, and let's find out what else is in store. Thank you, Aquarius. It's time for Capricorn, rising, sun, or moon people. Well, guys, this eclipse is falling in your fourth house. Now, this eclipse is happening on the 29th of March. It's at 9 degrees of Aries. It's a partial solar eclipse. This is the realm of life where we can expect sudden changes and new beginnings to unfold. This is the area of life where there is an important turning point arriving now, where you're initiating new things, where you're going to need to tap into your bravery and determination and self-assertion now, and where you might desire for something new in your life to happen. And this is all to do with fourth house things, which includes the family. Some of you might be seeing a family member move on, or start a new life, or get a new experience that you're not part of anymore, and that causes a new change and a new beginning, an important turning point in the life of the family that could cause some upheaval and significant change to who you are. Of course. So that's just one example. Maybe somebody in the family is moving on, but maybe something in the domestic life is changing. Maybe you've always grown your own veggies and you've decided, I don't have the time or the energy to give to that anymore, so I'm going to go to the local organic grocer instead. And so you change something to do with your domestic life and how you're living. Of course, the fourth house has to do with gardening and farming as well. It's one of the farming houses, so that could be changing in some way too. But how your family is operating might go through some significant turning point, some significant change as well. You're likely, Capricorn, to be very psychic and very emotionally intuitive and sensitive now about your family or your parents. Not so much about other things, but that realm of life you're going to be very tuned into. So, maybe you've got one of your family members has moved to the other side of the country. You're going to sort of sense when, hang on, I think they're feeling a bit upset. I'll give them a phone call. Touch base, see how they're going. You're going to be very tuned in because of this. And especially about, parents, like I said, and about family members. So trust your gut. Also psychically tuned in about how to farm. We talked about this being farming, about where to extend your home, where to make changes to your home, where to have new beginnings in your home, literally. So, if you need to do an extension, if you need to do some renovation in your home, this is a good energy to plan it and to get, look for quotes and do all that sort of thing, because this indicates an important turning point is arriving with how you're utilizing your home space. And so it can be very beneficial to move into a new destiny with your home. Some of you might even be moving home. You might be selling an old house and moving into some new house in somewhere or other. Changing your domestic circle and your community of living might also be on the cards for many of you Capricorn people as well. And if you do, it's going to take you more into your destiny and your purpose and give you more meaning for life to do so. So I can certainly see changes happening there for many of our Capricorn things, and a chance to initiate a new type of family experience, a new type of domestic life, a new type of home. You're going to desire to have a refresher in that realm of life as well. There might be yeah, as I said, a new beginning with a home or a garden or a domestic situation or a family, the way the family is living that is playing out now. And you might need to be brave about it. You might need to really tap into your courage as a result of this Aries energy with your home. You're likely to be somebody who's puts a lot of energy into their home life, into their family life and so forth, but there might be a change in how you're putting your energy in now because of the eclipse energy shifting the direction, turning things away from the way you've always done it into something new now, making it, that energy go to a different way of doing home life, a different way of doing family life, a different way of engaging with your home situation. There could also be a turning point with a maternal figure. This is traditionally the house of the mother. You might find that maybe your mother is moving away, changing residences. This is not necessarily an energy of falling out with a mother, but it can mean that the dynamic you have with your mother goes through some sort of shift. Maybe your mum calls you out on some behavior or something like that, and you feel put in your place. And so that changes the relationship, not in a negative way, but changes the dynamic between you and your mum. For example, if you are a mother, there's likely to be a change in the style of how you're mothering because of this eclipse energy here in the 4th house as well. Now, the 4th house being the home of family, when we see a new moon falling here, it, as I've said, can cause you to want to make improvements to your home. Remember, Aries is a desire energy. So it could be that you desire, a new pillow and doona set, or it could be that you desire a brand new garden bed, or it could be that you desire a brand new veranda on your home or something. So there is a desire within you that comes from this solar eclipse to change your home and improve your home in some way. Cleaning up your home, cleaning up your personal space is a great idea under this eclipse. It's going to make you feel better about life and better about everything. Cluttered home, cluttered life, cluttered mind. So use this energy, this eclipse, to clear things out. And as you clear things out and make space literally in your home, you make space in your emotional life for new experiences, new beginnings that are refreshing and uplifting for you. This is also an energy that might cause you to want to spend more time with your family, bonding with family, or renewing relationships with people who feel like family. Your tribe is seen through the 4th house, and this might be an energy, if you haven't been spending much time with your tribe of close-knit friends, or your friends who feel like family, or your literal family, you might be inspired because of this eclipse to renew relationships and connect with those people and open up about your true feelings, because this is a house of emotion. So that can be on the cards. The new start, new beginnings, refreshing energy because of the eclipse in the 4th house. Emotions might be a little bit deeper at this time, a bit more triggered, not necessarily in a bad way, but you might desire to go deeper emotionally with certain people, certain family members. You might desire to pull a stronger group of people around you as a support network now. There might be, this is the house of, as I said, our tribe. Now, our tribe can often be our literal family, brothers, sisters, mother, father, blah, blah, blah. But it can also be our like-minded ones, our intimate community. And so you might feel under this eclipse energy that you want to make a new beginning and pull your tribe closer, get the support of your tribe. And it's a great thing to do, because under this eclipse energy, like I said, you're a bit more susceptible to heightened emotions, and having that tribe of loved ones who care about you, who want to protect you, support you, help you, that can help you feel less vulnerable. So great time to reach out to those people, to lean on those people, because they're a gift from the divine for us to have friends. I mean, who casts off friendship willy-nilly? I remember this wonderful old film called Room with a View, and in it the minister in the film says, do we find love so often that we can afford to cast it off the box when it arrives? That's the terminology he uses in that quote, and we all get a picture of what he means. Do we encounter kindred spirits, our tribe, our loved ones, that often in life that we can afford to give them the flick whenever the mood strikes us. No, we don't. So value and treasure your support network now, Capricorn. They're going to be very, very important in your life. And equally, Capricorn, this eclipse energy is going to inspire you to be a better supporter of others too, a better supporter of your family, a better supporter of your tribe, a better supporter of your parents, a better supporter of those who need your nurturing, your protection, and your caring energy. You will fight Aries energy for those you love under this. Now, our intuition under this energy can become more well developed. So again, we need to listen to those initial feelings and our initial emotions that we are experiencing as a result of this eclipse. The first reaction that you get, the first emotional feeling that you get, may very well be the right one under this energy. It's a good time, and just to move back to more practical matters, if you've been considering selling your home, buying a home, moving home, refinancing a home, this eclipse energy can be beneficial for such things. You're also going to want to keep very busy, Aries energy, about your home, doing things in your home, maybe entertaining a bit, practicing hospitality, making things in your home, being creative in your home, having people around for dinner, all that sort of thing is a great way to utilize this energy as well. Home-based hospitality is a winner-winner chicken dinner here as well. Also, making long-term goals and working towards long-term goals is also a positive use of this energy. So sit and take the time to plan and explore where you want to be because of this beautiful fourth house energy. Now, I have more to say, Capricorn, about how this energy is playing out for you, and you can get the entire report by purchasing it off my website or simply going to the Patreon family, links in the description below, and becoming a Patreon member. You'll get access to this video and so many others full of juicy astro information. You won't want to miss a single one. I'll catch you with the extended report there. But for all my Patreons who are watching the video, the extended version, it's time for us to go deeper now with Capricorn. Moving along from Cappies, now we're at Sagittarius. Sagittarius, rising, sun, and moon people. The lovely eclipse energy is falling in a blessing house for you, Saggy, in the 5th house. So I'm very excited to tell you about this. It's happening on the 29th of March. It's at 9 degrees of Aries. So if you have any planets or points there, you're going to feel it very potently. It's a partial solar eclipse, and it's going to instigate sudden changes and new beginnings in our life. It indicates that a new turning point is arriving in our life to do with 5th house matters, and that we're initiating some kind of new beginning, perhaps to do with 5th house things too. It's where we need to express bravery and determination and self-assertion in the coming 6 months as this eclipse plays out, and it's where we're going to desire something fresh and something new in our life. So let's start with the obvious. The 5th house is the house of boyfriends and girlfriends and live-in lovers. This eclipse energy, it's not really an energy of separation, but it is an energy of a new beginning. So it could be that some Sagittarius people might separate from a lover now. Now, that will usually happen if, it won't be unexpected. It's probably been on the cards for a while, or you've been feeling uncomfortable and distant for a while. And there will most likely be a new lover that is the cause. Because this is about new beginnings, new energies, new starts. So it's moving from one lover to another. It's ending one thing to move in and start a relationship with somebody new. So this is possibly caused by somebody new coming on the scene, but if so, the relationship was not a part of your destiny and purpose in the first place. Things happen for a reason. As I said in the introduction, we need to allow things to flow as the universe decrees. For those of us who are single, there might be quite plainly a new lover, new romantic opportunity, new tete-a-tete entering into our life, as long as there are other factors in your chart that indicate such unfolding for you. Now, also, if you are in a relationship dynamic, a lover kind of relationship, a boyfriend-girlfriend kind of relationship, and it's been good, it's been going great, and it just keeps getting better and better, then this eclipse can actually even take things to the next level, take things to a new commitment level, or move you more into a destiny of being together. So as you can tell, this is not a surprising eclipse energy, other than it's a bit of a wild card ruled by Mars, but there's no aspect to Uranus. So take a look, like with a grounded approach, take a look at what's been happening in your love life. If you've been single, okay, something might come into your life now. But if you're in a relationship and it hasn't been feeling like the goods, then this can cause an end to allow you to move into something new. If you're in a relationship and it's been feeling wonderful, this eclipse can take things to an even better level. But you need to understand how it's going to affect your life. You need to have a really grounded, honest look at what's happening in your current relationship. Okay, so unexpected opportunities, just to move on to a different topic here, unexpected opportunities might come your way, Sagittarius, that are going to give you the chance to show your natural creativity, and you need to take it. So that might be that you're invited to exhibit at an art show, you're given a film role, or you're given a chance to be a part of the local theatre production, something like that that allows you to express and create and just enjoy the performance side of creativity. This can be very, very exciting. So take every opportunity that's given to you, and you will be given opportunities as a result of this eclipse, Sagittarius. This is a house of luck. Getting lucky, winning a prize, taking a risk, and the gamble pays off. That is a fifth house energy. So some of you might have a bit of a crack at something and kaboom, it really goes your way. It really pays off. It really does what you need it to now, Sagittarius. I don't usually encourage gambling, although I know Sagittarius people, perhaps because they're ruled by Jupiter, do tend to do better with that than some other signs. So maybe you might like to have a bit of a flutter. Just don't put all your savings and life savings on the horses or anything like that. Now, the solar eclipse energy is a masculine. The solar energy is men. And so it could be that a man paves the way for a rise in celebrity for you now. Somebody promotes your work. A man promotes your work, or spruiks how wonderful you are, or shares with his Instagram page, you know, how terrific you are. Maybe Joe Rogan contacts you and asks you for an interview. It could be anything like that. A man paves the way for a rise in celebrity, fifth house, for you, Sagittarius now. How wonderful. And we can also move into looking at the fifth house as a house of fun. So some of you Sagittarius people might be spending time having just a wild old time, having a party, or letting the creative juices flow, or getting involved with a long loved hobby of yours. This is a wonderful energy of the eclipse that allows you to just be in your joy. Remember, the fifth house has to do with children, but also our childlike heart. What floated our boat when we were young? What made us feel alive and happy and real when we were young? Well, we might be getting back in touch with that now as a source of joy for us. So if you're feeling inclined that way, my beautiful Sagittarius friends, then by all means embrace that and run with it. You might also feel a bit less reclusive. Sagittarians aren't usually reclusively inclined anyway, but unless they've got other placements in their chart that indicate that. But this is an energy for wanting to get out more. Feeling lonesome isn't an option. It's about, creating more fun in your life, connecting, having a good time, celebrating. So make space for that in your life and enjoy that in your life, Sagittarius, because it's a part of this energy that will last for about 6 months. Happiness, joy, getting in touch with your childlike heart, feeling fulfilled, feeling creative, seeing your creativity flourish, and even generating some sort of celebrity from the things you love and the creativity that's flowing through you now. So it's a very good energy for any type of creativity and to create anything and to begin anything new, not just the arts. This is a time for instigating a brand new start in anything that requires creative thinking. This is the house of children. Children are the most creative thing a human can produce. And so that's why children are connected to the fifth house. It's a creative endeavor to raise children, to birth children and, create another human. So anything creative, business creativity or entrepreneurial, especially Aries is entrepreneurial creativity. Anything that you create is seen here, and it's a wonderful time for receiving joy and celebrity and popularity and delight and happiness from such things. So if you are, we talked about romance and boyfriends, girlfriends, but if you're in a committed relationship, this is a house that rules romance. So bring romance into your love relationship. Bring romance into the commitment, organize a bubble bath or a dinner for two or a night at a motel or something, have some fun with a partner now. If you're keen on somebody, this is a wonderful time to ask somebody out. You know, approach that person at work and say, hey, do you want to go for coffee or something? This can be very beneficial. Now, keep in mind with that Venus is also retrograde. So perhaps if you did that, it may not last, but certainly while we're still in the activation phase of this eclipse, so maybe, you know, in about a week or so's time, and at the time Venus turns direct again, that would be the time to ask somebody out and utilize this energy, Sagittarius. It's a good time for mingling. And so if you're single and you've got your eye on someone, look at when Venus is turning direct before this eclipse energy is finished, and ask somebody out. Or if you're in a relationship, generate more romance in your life. And if you're single and you're not interested in anybody, create more romance in your own life. You know, bubble baths for yourself. You know, a wonderful movie and curl up on the couch with a glass of wine and a movie and a box of tissues and a thing of chocolates or something, whatever feels like romance and pleasure and delight for you. I had 14 years as a single woman, or a single mum. I didn't have a lot of opportunities for romance while I was raising my beautiful 3 children. But when I did, you know, it was usually something a bit homey, because that's the way I'm oriented. I like my home space. But I would create some romance for myself to enjoy. Like I said, a bubble bath or glass of wine with a good movie or something like that. That's romance to me. Romance is the fun. That's why it's associated with the 5th house. And it takes creativity to be truly romantic, doesn't it? If you don't have a spark of creativity in you, you can't think of a good date idea for yourself to experience or with anyone else. So creativity and romance and fun all go hand in hand. That's why they're all 5th house things together. Now, children, as we know, are a 5th house matter. So if you do have kids, you might feel inclined to spend more time with them as a result of this eclipse Sagittarius, or they might require more of your attention for something. You know, whether they've left home or they still live with you, it doesn't matter. They probably need you more now. So be there for your kids. You might want to also, as I've already alluded to here, get in touch with your own inner child by being more playful, being more carefree, getting in touch with an old hobby. This is also a risk-taking house, so you might be feeling more bold about asserting yourself, Aries energy, about taking a risk, about stepping out of your comfort zone, and less inclined to want approval from other people. You're just going to do it and take life by the balls, as they say, and make it work for you with a lot of joy and a lot of optimism. So I love this energy for Sagittarius. It's a very blessed house to be having an eclipse. And Saggy, I have so much more to tell you about this eclipse, but I'd encourage you to join me at the Patreon family to find out what I've got to say, or buy the download of this video from my website. And for all my Patreons who are watching this, my friends, it's time to go deeper and find out everything else about this eclipse for Sagittarius. Thank you, Saggy. Okay, we're moving on to Scorpio now. Scorpio rising, sun or moon people. The energy of the solar eclipse on the 29th of March is falling in the 6th house. That's where you're going to feel it most, Scorpio. This is happening at 9 degrees of Aries. If you've got your 6th house manifestation point at 9 degrees of Aries, you'll also feel it more profoundly as well. This is the realm of life where we're going to expect to see sudden changes and new beginnings arrive. Important turning points in our life to do with the 6th house, where you're going to be initiating new things, Scorpio, where there's a need for bravery and determination and self-assertion, and where you're going to desire a renewed experience of life in the 6th house. Now, the 6th house is a house that makes us highly sensitized to the pain of others. So you're going to feel the poverty of others. You're going to feel the victimization of others and the exploitation of others now. And I would just encourage you, because this is a house of burning karma, Scorpio, act upon that. You know, you're going to be sensitized to that sort of thing, because this eclipse will sensitize 6th house things in your life. So use it to burn karma. Serve, help, heal, fix people who are in positions of disadvantage. On another topic, my beautiful Scorpio friends, you might find that you are in some sort of confrontational situation that arises in your life now. And this will probably arise because of frustrations that you're feeling emotionally. So you might need to protect your energy. You might need to protect your vibration now. Have a plan to do so. If you go head to head with somebody, how are you going to respond? You're going to be the bigger person, they say, be the bigger person. Sometimes you might need to assert yourself. Sometimes you might need to sort of say your piece. But what is your plan if you go head to head with somebody and have to deal with a confrontational situation? How are you going to handle it? Forewarned, forearmed, my beautiful Scorpio friends. This may be on the cards with a solar eclipse here, and it would usually represent a confrontation with a man, this solar eclipse energy as well. Now, because Aries is a winner type energy, it likes to win, come first, and the solar eclipse is also, with the north node of destiny and moving into more purpose and meaning for life, some of you may win over a health issue. Sixth house, health, well-being. You might win over a health issue. You might win in court. You might win a battle with a difficult person that you've been having. There can be a real turning point with these yucky sixth house things in life because of the nature of this eclipse in Aries, of course, the fighter, the competitor, the winner. There can also be some changes in some circumstances you've been experiencing with a family pet or an animal, which domestic animals are seen through the sixth house. So there could be some shift of energy that's occurring in the life of a family pet also, or work colleagues are also seen through the sixth house. So they might be going through some change too. We know that the sixth house rules our health. So having a new moon, solar eclipse here, can help us to, or cause us to need to focus on our health and our well-being, our fitness, and our mental stability as well. We might be worrying too much, but forewarned, forearmed, you can put some mechanisms in place to deal with that. Some mindfulness practices or some therapeutic practices, or hypnotic practices, whatever you need to help your mental stability, whatever you need to do to help your physical fitness or the diet that you're on. It's a good time to try a new diet, new fresh starts, turn over a new leaf with a health regime, get my words out, but make sure that what you start under this new moon eclipse is something that you can realistically keep up with, and not some fad that you'll quit when the eclipse activation period ends in about 2 weeks' time. So put something in place that is realistically achievable. Okay, keep yourself a little bit grounded in that way. Also, I'll just say this is a house of perfectionism, so be careful not to obsess too much about being healthy. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing, they say. So, you don't want to be so obsessive and so perfectionist about your expectations of the health regime that you're on or the diet that you're on, that it makes your life just a misery. You don't want that. Everything in moderation. Your daily habits are seen through the sixth house as well, and they might undergo a change, especially if this is about bringing things back into balance in your life. If things have been out of whack, if you have had no time to exercise, or your sleep schedule's been really disrupted because of some external reason, this is about making a change to the daily habits and the daily experience of life to bring things back into harmony. So you might get inspired to do so as a result of this eclipse. You might find new ways to do so, or an opportunity to do so because this eclipse is occurring in your sixth house. Now, the sixth house also has to do with cleanliness. And so keeping things organized is almost an imperative. You will not tolerate disorganization and clutter now. So it's time for cleaning out the cupboards. It's time for reorganizing the CD shelf, if you still have one. It's time for creating new organizational strategies around the home or at work in your life so that life functions more smoothly and efficiently for you. Some of you may, because we know this is a house of domestic animals, and I talked about a change in the circumstances of life for one of your pets, but some of you might be getting a new pet. This is a new beginning. Some of you might be adopting a new pet, or babysitting a pet for 6 months for a friend who's going overseas or something. There can be some sort of energy of a domestic pet dynamic entering into your life where maybe it hasn't been there before. Work life is also a sixth house issue, Scorpio. So this is also a wonderful energy for new starts in your work life, a good time to improve your current work situation or to look for a new work situation if the old one hasn't been cutting the mustard. So the sixth house energy represents new starts with work when we've got an eclipse with the north node happening here. And if you do have a new start with some sort of work area, what you do to pay the bills each week or each month, then if you do have a new start in that regard, it's going to be part of your destiny, north node energy. You're going to move more into your purpose for living because of that. Now, like I said, it's time, if you're feeling like it, to start looking for a new job altogether, but be realistic, and don't dump at one job and have nothing to go to. You don't want any regrets here. Make sure you put in for the new job and, go through the interview process and then quit the job that you've currently got to move into that new job, new opportunity, okay? So I don't want to see anybody out on the street living in a tent because they've thrown out the baby with the bathwater, as they say. You don't want to act on impulse under this eclipse. Keep in mind that any changes should be positive and should be well thought out, Scorpio. Don't be sort of impulsive and then regret what you've done under this particular eclipse energy. Now, there's so much more to tell you, Scorpio. I can't wait to dig into it for you. You can go to the Patreon page, links in the description below, to find out everything else I've got to say for your sign, or you can purchase the video from the download available on my website. But for my Patreon friends who are all with me now watching this video, it's time to dive in deeper. Thank you, Scorpio. Okay, lovely Libras. Libras who had to wait till last for the most recent eclipse video I've done, now come in 7th place. Here we are. Because the eclipse, the solar eclipse, is occurring in your 7th house of Aries, Libra. So this is happening on the 29th of March, a partial solar eclipse, I'll get my words out, at 9 degrees of Aries. So if your descendant is at 9 degrees, you're going to feel this one especially potently. We can expect sudden changes to do with the 7th house, new beginnings to do with the 7th house, important turning points arriving with 7th house energy. This is really a chance to initiate new beginnings, new things to do with 7th house energy. And we're going to need to tap into our bravery and our determination and our self-assertion in 7th house realms. We're also going to find that we desire new things regarding the 7th house energy. So let's explore a bit of what that's all about. Well, if you're in a relationship, Libra, that's been working well and flourishing, this is an energy of new starts, fresh beginnings that take you more into the positive, an increase in the love, an increase in the commitment, an increase in the trajectory of your relationship, because the North Node is the cause of this eclipse, and the North Node is to move us more into our destiny, in this case with relationships. So positive, positive, positive for relationships in that way. On the flip side, relationships that have been strained might tend to break apart under this influence. If you've been walking on eggshells, you've got to ask yourself, is this really the relationship for you? And it's likely that your partner will be the one instigating the change in relationship if it hasn't been going so well. This is not a surprising energy. You will know this is coming. You'll feel it coming. It's not like there's Uranus involved with this in any way. It's not. This is a relational turning point represented by this energy. So something that hasn't been working in relationship can be the catalyst for the relationship concluding now. And remember what I said in the introduction. Allow in what needs to come in so that you can move more into the destiny that awaits you. Maybe a new relationship around the corner. Maybe a feeling of freedom and autonomy that you have been craving. Whatever it is. Now, if you're single and you're Libran and you're watching this, you need a few things going on in your own chart. This is one of the things, and we need more than just one, but this is one of the things that can trigger meeting someone new, falling in love with someone new, and establishing a new relationship. So eclipses often bring in new partnerships. I met my first husband the week of an eclipse, way, way, way back in the 90s when I got together with him. And so I've seen this in my own life playing out. I think David and I also met each other under an eclipse too, even though we didn't sort of start our relationship straight away. So very powerful, very potent. Sudden falling in love with somebody new, often the case with an eclipse in the 7th house. Also, the 7th house has to do with business affairs, court cases, dealings with lawyers, negotiations, and creating win-win situations. So you can have successful outcomes that move you more into your destiny because of this energy that might play out either now in the next couple of weeks or over the next 6 months as this eclipse energy unfolds. The 7th house rules all our relationships. So a new moon, solar eclipse energy highlights all relationships, but especially romantic relationships, also business relationships. In some forms of astrology, this is the house of open enemies, enemies we know about, our competitors. This is the ones we know who are out to get us. Now, hopefully you don't have too many of those sorts of people in your life. The 12th house is hidden enemies, whereas the 7th house is the open enemies. So yeah, that's the difference. So hopefully you don't have too many of those in your life. But the focus of this eclipse is going to highlight all those relationships. So we've talked about marriage, we've talked about single people. What if you've got somebody who is an enemy in your life that you're fully aware of? Well, they're going to be illuminated for a start. You're going to find out who it is if they've been hidden. But the open enemies is going to mean like you might be going head to head with that person. There might be a level of competing with that person, because Aries energy is to compete. So that might come up here as well. There can also be, with this combination of energy, the chance to lay to rest and make a brand new start with an enemy, to turn an old enemy into a new friend. That can also happen with this eclipse as well, because remember, this is a North Node eclipse. It's all about new starts and brand new beginnings and turning over a new leaf. So you're turning over a new page in the book of your life with an enemy. That can actually really happen under eclipses like this as well, turning them into a positive connection instead of a negative connection. So we can improve all our existing relationships under an eclipse energy like this. It can be very life affirming. All good relationships should provide us with some form of growth in our life. And so if a relationship is not helping you grow and understand yourself more, if it's not helping you flourish, then it may be time to let it go under this eclipse. And many of you may be welcoming in all sorts of new relationships, because remember, in the introduction I described this eclipse energy as being one of new beginnings. So you might be welcoming in a whole lot of new clients, a whole lot of new Patreons, a whole lot of new audience, that's coming your way. Now, this is one of the houses of connection with other people. So you might be really weighing up now your connection with others versus your independence and autonomy, and sort of working out, well, am I giving too much here? Am I giving too much there? Have I got enough time for me? Or am I giving it all away? Libra, it's time for evaluating that and making changes where changes are needed. What is a win-win situation? You're very good at finding win-win situations, Libra, and you might be caused to weigh up what that looks like for you now. In a business partnership, that can be very much the case. Are you giving more than your business partner is? Are they taking more than their fair share? And you might need to make some changes around those situations in life as well. All eclipses can cause our emotions to be heightened, and it's certainly our emotions in connection with relationships that might be experiencing some kind of higher emphasis or triggering right now. So be aware that your emotions in relationship might come under the pump. But perhaps a more positive light, the 7th house has to do with refined culture, sophisticated enjoyments in life. Going to, hear a classical music concert or something like that, or going to a traditional art gallery or a museum. So these sorts of high-level cultural experiences may be on the cards for you to experience more of over the next 6 months. And that could even look like, taking a wander down a very exclusive shopping strip for some reason or another that in some way shapes your destiny. So it could be something very simple like that. You take a trip to some exclusive suburb and have coffee in a nice cafe, and you happen to get chatting to the barista there, finding out a few things about, their life and where they're going and what they're doing. It somehow complements yours, and maybe you collaborate on something. You just don't know what cultural experiences, and refined cultural experiences I'm talking about, will lead you more into your destiny now. So if you feel the impulse to enjoy an art gallery or a concert or a shopping destination that's not some mall or something, we're talking about Collins Street, Melbourne kind of stuff. If you feel the impetus to enjoy those sorts of things, then go for it, because you just don't know how much it's going to take you into your destiny to go there, to experience that, to expose yourself to refined, sophisticated culture now, Libra. And we know you love those sorts of things anyway. Now, Libra, I have so much more to tell you about this eclipse and what it's doing for you. You can get the entire report at the Patreon family. If you're not already a Patreon, do sign up and join. The link's in the description below, or you can buy the download of this video from my from my website. But for Patreon members who are watching this, my friends, it's time for us to go deeper for Libra. Moving along now to Virgo rising, Virgo sun, Virgo moon people. So the energy of this eclipse is falling in your 8th house, Virgo, and this is happening on the 29th of March. It's a partial solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries. So if you've got your 8th house manifestation point there, you're going to feel it very potently. This is the realm of sudden changes, and this eclipse is all about sudden changes and new beginnings. So high likelihood of shifts of energy and changes in life direction for our Virgo friends. This is an important turning point that's arriving in your life. It's time for initiating new 8th house things for you. It's about tapping into your bravery and determination and self-assertion to make the 8th house work for you now, my beautiful Virgo friends. And it's about instigating some sort of new desire for 8th house things in your life. So you are going to get some amazing intuitive downloads that are happening for you now. Trust those goosebump moments. Trust those premonitions. They are prophetic influences. They are giving you guidance. 8th house energy. Also, the solar eclipse is a masculine energy, and so there might be a man who's providing an 8th house influence in the positive for you now, maybe some source of healing and regeneration, guiding you with some sort of shamanic wisdom to turn your life around. So pay heed to people like that. Maybe it's a YouTuber that you follow who teaches astrology, who's a man that really transforms your life, or some sort of life coachy person that really redirections you in some way. This is a big season of change for our Virgo friends. We've had a few eclipses in the area of the chart that is your 8th house over the last sort of 18 months or so, and this is the final one before we start having a series of eclipses in Pisces. So this is the last chance really to make the most of this season of change that you've been in, and rebirth your life and regenerate your life. Your life is changing in quite a remarkable way now, Virgo. This is the turning point for you, moving into a whole new state of being. Now that could bring a lot of emotional ups and downs. Eclipses just do that. But you have what it takes to get through this and to ride this roller coaster, knowing that out the other side, life is going to look very different for you in about 6 months' time. The 8th house rules other people's money. Things like debts, taxes, joint finances, if you have to manage other people's money. So with a new moon solar eclipse here, you might have to deal with restructuring your taxes, or organizing your debts into some new form, or dealing with some issue with joint finances. These might crop up now as a result of this eclipse. It's actually a good time to pay off a debt or to receive money that's owed to you. That might happen and be triggered because of this eclipse energy falling here as well. You might also, if you need to get a loan, if you need a line of credit, then this is a good time to organize these sorts of things, particularly once the moon becomes visible. Just make sure that it's a loan that you need and not some indulgence that you're splurging on, because that could come back to haunt you down the track. If it's for something you need, maybe your car's falling to bits and you need a loan to get a new one, well, this could be a really good time for that to happen. This is the house that also rules our transformation, as we know. So there might be some sort of transformation that's happening internally in you, or in the circumstances of your life around you, and that could be in any way. Maybe things are being transformed because you're having a surgery, 8th house is surgery, and you're going to be healed and you're going to feel better, and life is going to take on some great improvement. Maybe you're getting a hip surgery, for example, and you're going to be able to walk properly again. Yay, bring it on. Maybe, there's a transformation that's occurring in some sort of other way in life. Maybe where you live is transforming, or maybe the job you've got is transforming. There is maybe an outlook that you've got in life is transforming. That some sort of transformation is coming your way as a result of this eclipse. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to get rid of things. This eclipse is actually all about new starts and new beginnings. That's what the North Node is all about, moving you into your destiny. So know that the changes that arrive, know that what is coming isn't necessarily going to be bad. It's going to just move you more into where you're meant to be. So a total overhaul here isn't necessary. It could just be that you need to renovate some little area of your life. It could be a literal renovation in your life, or it could be a personal renovation that you're doing in your life. Maybe looking into some therapy might be a really good idea to do under this eclipse. Art therapy, music therapy, dance therapy, hypnotherapy, whatever. It's a great time, my beautiful Virgo friends, to look at doing some sort of soul renovation as well. That's actually a really beneficial component of the 8th house as well. To heal the soul, to heal trauma, to move into a greater psychological state of being. So use this energy to help with that, and you will avoid all the more difficult upheavals that are often associated with 8th house energy. Now, the 8th house is also to do with our sexuality and our sex life. You know, this is an intensification of our sex life. So for many Virgo people, they're going to be having the best sex of their life as a result of this eclipse, experiencing like deep intimacy with a partner, or if you're single, just ecstatic experience that you can bring about yourself. It's the intensity that the 8th house represents here that is going to be activated by this empowering eclipse. So this is lovely. And there's sex, oh golly, I don't want to go off on my preachy bandbox, but sex has been so destroyed and maligned and made cheap and made nasty, overexploitation, pornography, all those things are just destroying the power of sex. And sex is a very powerful energetic experience, whether you're single and by yourself experiencing that, or with another person. Sex is a powerful tool. That's why it's associated with the house of shamanism. It's actually a shamanic tool for touching base with our golden age self, the person we were in the golden age, with this higher knowledge, higher wisdom that we can tap into. Sex is an avenue towards that, towards experiencing and connecting with that higher level state of being that we have all been in back in earlier times in the Kali Yuga, and will again be in the future at some point. But they're cheapening it, they're degrading it. So I just want to encourage all my beautiful Virgo friends, revolutionize and renovate your sex life. Find the magic in it, find the beauty in it, find the healing in it, find the empowering in it, find the therapy in it, because it is a powerful manifestation tool. It really is, if you can work with sexual energy. Now, if you don't know anything about these sorts of things and you want to start understanding it better, there's many books on this topic that you can explore. There's a lot of tantric teachers and sexual wisdom teachers out there that you can explore as well. And I just encourage you, under this eclipse energy, go there, experience it, find out about it, because this is all about creating more manifestation of blessing in your life and for humanity. The more of us, sorry, I'm on a bit of a bandwagon, but the more of us that can tap into our sexual power, the 8th house is a house of power, it's also a house of sex. The more of us who can tap into our sexual power, the more of us can manifest the change that is needed on the planet right now, taking us back into love and connection and divinity, kindness, grace, beauty, and getting rid of all the parasites on the planet. We can do it through our sexual empowerment and coming back into the magic of using sex. So I have gone off on my bandwagon tangent there, but I just encourage you, Virgos, you've got a wonderful opportunity to utilize sexual manifestation or sexual magic through that heightened energy that sex brings, that we can change the world with. So use it. It will change your life, and it can change the world at large as well. Now, on another topic with the 8th house, before we wrap this up for our YouTube audience, it's a time for looking beneath the surface. This is a house of deep research to find what's really at the core of things, really at the bottom, and going deep, digging, searching, exploring, and you're really going to want to dig into maybe understanding some what they call conspiracy theories, but it's really just a exploration of truth. So you might be diving deep into that sort of thing as a result of this eclipse, finding out what is real truth and what is lies. You might be looking into sort of the darker side of life, understanding the criminal mind rather, or how criminally corrupt our governments and so forth are. You might be doing a deep dive into the darker mafia-like spheres of our existence on the planet, especially in the West at the moment. And of course, when we do this, we can encounter a bit of a struggle with who we are and our place in the world, and the realization that, hang on a minute, the world is not what I think it is. It's not what I always believed it to be. It's much darker what is going on in the world. And this can be revealed under this eclipse energy. But doing so, when we understand, we wouldn't go back to not knowing. We wouldn't go back to naivety. So if you're feeling the call to explore things in depth now, to uncover the truth and reveal the truth, go there with this eclipse energy, because it could really transform your life and take you into a state of more personal power over your own life, and also bless the awakening of the world at large, my beautiful Virgo friends. Now, I've got so much more to tell you, Virgo, about what is happening in the chart with for your sign with this eclipse. You can get the entire report at my website, or you can join the Patreon page and get access to this report in its fullness, and I should say, so many more videos that are just wonderful all about astrology there. You just got to go to the link in the description below. And for my Patreon members who are already watching this with me, let's dive in a little deeper for Virgo. All right, lovely Leos, you're next. The eclipse energy and all its blessings and difficulties for you will be felt in the 9th house. Now, this is one of the wonderful houses in astrology, so I've got so much good stuff to share with my beautiful Leos here. This eclipse energy is happening on the 29th of March, and it's happening at 9 degrees of Aries, your 9th house. So if you've got your 9th house manifestation point here, you're going to feel this so much more. And this partial solar eclipse can be a very powerful instigator of sudden changes and new beginnings in life. It's like an important turning point is arriving now in your life. You're going to get a chance to initiate new things to do with the 9th house, but you'll need to tap into your bravery and your determination and your self-assertion now to make these new desired things bubble up and manifest. Very exciting energy, lovely Leos. So really what we're seeing here in the 9th house is a turning point with any out-of-date belief systems that you've been carrying. It's time to broaden your horizons. It's time to tap into some sort of new ethics and new morals. And look, as an older woman, I can tell you, in my long lifetime, I have experienced many about faces with what I believed was true. Not only religious, but social beliefs and social ethics and morals. Something that I thought was the ethically right stance to take 10 years ago may not be what I'm thinking today as I observe what's happening in the world, as I understand the motives and the reasons behind a lot of what we see playing out in culture. So many of you lovely Leos might be experiencing a big change in how you see the world and why you believe what you do. And so, it can be confronting when we go through that. It can be very upsetting when we realize what we've acted upon and believed as truth is actually something we shouldn't have acted upon and shouldn't have believed as truth, as the real reality is revealed. And this eclipse can illuminate that. So don't feel bad, Leo. We all go through this kind of evolution of knowledge and understanding and wisdom as we get older, especially. Don't feel bad if you've been on the wrong, ethical path or, moral belief or whatever. What you realize now is wrong. Simply trust that you are in the right place, the right time for the growth of your soul in this moment. And if you need to make changes as a result of this eclipse, then that's perfectly okay. Now, you might also, moving into sort of a different field of this 9th house realm, you might be having a new beginning or a brand new start with some other culture. Maybe, I'm a Leo sun, maybe my career now starts to reach more into African cultures where I haven't sort of been known much before. So a new beginning, fresh start, new destiny with a culture that's not my own. Maybe you might be having more international relationships with other cultures that you don't recognize as being like your own in some way, shape or form. There might be a new relationship with other 9th house figures that unfolds. Remember, this eclipse energy is also about brand new starts, moving into your destiny. So it could be a relationship with an inspirational figure or a teacher or a guru or even a father figure, as is the nature of the 9th house. there is also a heightened intuition that comes from this eclipse. This is the house of connection with the divine prayer, divine, giving your messages to God. That's ninth house energy. So trust your hunches, because the divine communicates back to us in ninth house energy. The divine gives us a feeling of, oh, this is truth, and this is real, and this is where I need to go, and so forth, and this is my purpose, and this is my mission, and this is my dharma. Trust your intuition around those things now. Trust that if you're being told your future lies here, that it's not some pie in the sky idea. That's a divine imprint given to you from your ninth house realm under this eclipse energy. And so for the duration of the eclipse activation period until April 17th, March 10 to April 17, trust what you're feeling. Don't deny it. Don't poo-poo it. Don't say, oh, I can never afford that, or why would the universe give that to me, or why would that be, why would I be able to do that? Don't go there. Trust and honor. Thank you, divine, for giving me that vision. Thank you for inspiring my heart in that way. Trust your hunches, honor them, give thanks for them, go for it in that regard. And I will also mention that the ninth house has to do with our prosperity. This is in Vedic astrology. It's a house of prosperity. And so our luck in that realm of prosperity can really increase. You may get the prosperity that you need, Leo, to move into your purpose, your mission, the dream and dharma you have for your life. Prosperity can grow under this eclipse energy because of the activation of the ninth house. A little bit more about the ninth house. The ninth house rules expansion of the higher self, the divine person that you are in the higher realms, in the spiritual realms, the person you were in the golden age. And so you might find that you are getting more in touch with who you were in the golden age. And by golden age, if you don't know what that is, check out my video with Joseph Selby, the interview that I did a couple of weeks ago, talking all about the ages of man and the cycle of the yugas. Incredible information. I do encourage you, do a deep dive into that, because this energy, this eclipse energy, is helping you move more back to who you were in the last golden age and who you're going to be in the coming golden age. So very powerful. And you might be expanding your mind through some higher education, some new philosophy that you discover. You might be wanting to expand your life by and therefore tapping back into that wisdom of the golden age that you possess deep buried within you, by exploring new cultures, exploring new ways of living, exploring new perspectives, perhaps going down the road of understanding that some new cultural dynamic that you might want to immerse yourself in and live in the future. So all of these things, very powerful now. The status quo, the way things are, the same old community, same old jobs, same old, is not as satisfying to you now as a result of this eclipse. It's a restless energy, the ninth house energy. You want to push the boundaries of what you know so that you can expand. This is the old adage that I just love, was given to me by a friend some years ago, who said, this is one of the best mantras I've ever heard for life. I expand to meet my destiny. And that's what this ninth house energy is all about. I expand to move into what the universe has in store for me. There is no sign that this is more true for than Leo's when the North Node energy is causing an eclipse in your ninth house. The status quo is no longer satisfying. You want to do something extraordinary. You want to push back the boundaries and the limits of life so you can live with meaning, with purpose, with dharma. And this eclipse is going to help you do that. You're going to feel more adventurous. You're going to want to push the limits of your mind. Your spirituality and your belief systems, as we've already talked about, might undergo a change, and you're going to want to explore new ideas, new beliefs, and thoroughly immerse yourself in them as much as possible. So long distance travel might become an issue for you might be traveling to a faraway place, different culture to your own. And look, that doesn't have to be a different culture. In Australia, we're a big country. The culture in Perth is very different to the culture in Sydney. And so, it doesn't have to be to another culture. Even within the state that I live in, the culture in central Victoria is very different to the culture in East Gippsland. So it can represent an immersion in a culture that's different to your own, even within your own country. And you might have the opportunity to travel and immerse yourself in some other culture. You might have a desire to spend time with people from faraway places, or try some exotic cuisine that is not your usual fare. And you should do that because it is part of this expansion to meet your destiny, part of your growth, part of your understanding and awareness that is going to increase as a result of this eclipse. Now, the ninth house also rules law. So legal matters can come into play now. They might be beginning, because this is an energy of new starts and new beginnings. So there might be some legal matters that are starting up for some of you Leo people. There'll be a time when they conclude as well, but this is a startup energy, so I'm sorry to say that. But it isn't also... I was going to say it's not the best time for long-term plans, but to my mind... Okay, let me clarify this. It's not a time for committing to something that you want to see finished in a hurry, in a snap. It is the time for looking forward long distance into the future. Remember, the ninth house is generally associated with Sagittarius and the archer, who's pointing his arrow off into the future. Where am I going? So it's time for reviewing where you want to be in the long term. Not, okay, I'm going to start this and I want it ready for me tomorrow. Not those sorts of plans, plans that happen quickly and we manifest them in a hurry. This is the time for reviewing and starting your walk down the path of the destiny. You'll walk down the road. Okay, so do an evaluation. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? Where do you want to be in 10 years' time? And so on and so on. And what steps have you got to take to get there? Put yourself, make a strategy, make a plan, and start enacting it once the moon becomes visible, because this is the house of long-range goals and long-range plans and preparing ourselves and working towards those things. I just need to wrap it up for my YouTube family that this is the house that is connected to writing and publishing. So if you have aspirations to be a writer or a publisher, Leo, this is a great energy, this eclipse, to sort of work with that, manifest that, get the creative juices flowing towards that end. Some of you might be getting some news that a book or an article or something of yours is going to be published. That can be very uplifting and exciting. Some of you might be just starting out on that road, embarking on the road down that you're going to take over, say, the next 6 months to a year to maybe 18 years, the cycle of an eclipse. You might be starting off down that road for moving into a publishing, not necessarily career, but a publishing experience. Now, I have so much more to tell you, Leo, and as you can tell, it's pretty good, all falling here in the ninth house. There's just so much wonderful stuff to share with you, and you can get the entire report from my website if you want to purchase it there, or if you want to join the Patreon family and get the video there. The link is in the description below. And my Patreon members who are watching this, let's dive in a little deeper now. Thank you, Leo. Moving on to Cancer. Thank you for sticking with me, Cancer. I'm starting to lose my voice. Such a big video, this one. But Cancer, rising, sun or moon. The eclipse happening on the 29th of March is a solar eclipse occurring at 9 degrees of Aries, which is your 10th house. So if you happen to have planets or your 10th house MC here, this is going to be highly activated in your chart. It's where you can expect to see sudden changes and new beginnings in life. It's where an important turning point is arriving for you now. It's where you can initiate new things. It's where you need to tap into your bravery and your self-assertion and your determination to make life work for you. Your desire for new things in the realm of the 10th house can manifest for you now. I'm so happy to say, Cancer. So this is on the axis of parents. It is often associated with the father in Western astrology, but it can also be the mother, depending on who wears the pants in the family more. So there might be some changes happening now in the life of one of your parents, particularly the father or the mother if she wears the pants. So there's an important turning point arriving in their life, maybe a brand new start, maybe they're turning over a new leaf. So that could look like a parent retiring or moving to a different kind of accommodation venue. It could look like a parent, maybe going on a big holiday somewhere, something changing, some energy shifting in the life of a parent. There might also be something happening in the life of your mother-in-law as well, my beautiful Cancers, because this has to do with your mother-in-law, this house. The solar eclipse is a masculine energy. It's all focused around the sun. So potentially a significant man or authority figure could catapult you Cancer people into some sort of greater worldly success and recognition in some way. Because the 10th house is all about how we are seen by the world and our popularity, our celebrity. Just like the 5th house is about celebrity, so is the 10th house. And so you might get more recognition now because somebody spruiks you, somebody promotes you, somebody lifts you up in some way. This could also be a period, Cancer, where some new position of leadership is generated for you. Maybe you're asked to be the head of the scout group in your local town, or maybe you're asked to be the CEO of your company. It's a very exciting time. It indicates a new beginning with a period of leadership because this is part of your destiny. The North Node represents your destiny point, and it's what is causing this eclipse to happen. There can be a turning point with one way of doing your career and obtaining success in order for you to move into a new way of doing career and obtaining success. And it can also, for many of you Cancer people, lead you into the career of your dreams. This eclipse energy might help you discover, this is my purpose, this is my meaning, this is what floats my boat, this is the legacy that I want to give to everybody who comes after me. Many of you Cancer people will be discovering what that is. Now, you may also find that you're very sensitized, my beautiful Cancers, to your public image and your reputation right now. Watch out for gossip. Watch out for news about your reputation because it can be very triggered now. People might be talking a lot about you or saying pss, pss, pss behind your back. You'll know about it though. You'll find out about it. Now, it could be difficult news or it could be something really good. Sometimes gossip's wonderful, you know. They're talking about us. Great. It means our self and our message and who we are is getting out there. People are talking about us. But just don't be surprised if you find out people are saying this, that, or the other. As we know, the 10th house rules our career, our life path. It also rules authority figures. So having a solar eclipse here does indicate some new career advancement. But it also indicates a change in your life path. So some of you might be starting a new career or moving into a new career realm. Some of you might be dealing with an authority figure or some sort of superior and making a fresh start there. Maybe a superior has been pushing your buttons for months and you're like, I've had enough, I've had it up to here. So you make a change in your life so that you don't have to deal with that authority figure anymore. Maybe you change careers so that you don't have to, push against the status quo with that authority figure any longer. So that can be happening for many Cancer people as well. The impetus here is to present yourself at your best at all times because people are watching you. This is the most visible house in astrology. People are watching us, and when the eclipse is occurring in this most visible house, what you do and say and how you interact is being observed. And it can either be for the best or it can be either for the worst, and it's up to you. So act with integrity, act with honor, do the right thing, and you can actually achieve and move forward to a greater destiny if you keep your integrity, if you keep your honesty intact. It's very difficult to keep things hidden when you're having a solar eclipse here in the 10th house, so try to keep things, as I've just suggested, on the straight and narrow. So it can be a very auspicious time to ask for a raise or a promotion. We don't tend to do that too much in Australia. I do believe in some other countries it is part of life to go in and demand, I want a raise or whatever, or ask for that. So it depends which country you're in. But, if you're in a position where you can ask for a raise or ask for a promotion, then it's time for doing that. Under this eclipse energy can also be, as I've already alluded to, a great time to start some brand new career path. Not a side hustle, but a brand new direction. You'll have the energy to put into that now, to maybe start something new, to learn something new in your career realm. And it's a busy energy. You'll be very busy with everything that you have to get done. It's exciting. It's really exciting, but it's going to feel pressurized. So make sure you have some mechanisms for relaxation and keeping that work-life balance on track, Cancer. Don't overwhelm yourself by being too busy or learning too many new things. Delegate when you need it, and take that time out to rest and be at home and chillax whenever you need it as well. You've probably got a lot to do, a lot on your plate. So it can be intense, you can become stressed, have some strategies, my forewarning, forearming for Cancer people. It's a great time for planning for the future. You know, this is the house of the legacy that we leave for those who come after us. Now, that can be a career legacy, or it could be something else. Maybe you want to leave a legacy of a wonderful poetry book that you've written, or maybe your legacy is going to be a beautiful car collection that you've accumulated over your lifetime. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But it's about understanding the legacy that you do want to leave and making long-term realistic plans how you're going to achieve that. So it doesn't matter what age you are. This eclipse energy tells us it's a great time to start strategizing the legacy that we want to be known for when we're no longer present in body on this planet. What are we going to leave those who come after us? Is it our wisdom? Is it our joy? Is it children? Is it a garden? What is it? Find out, do the research now, and start making plans to create and leave that beautiful legacy in your life. Now, my gorgeous Cancer people, I have so much more to tell you about what this eclipse is doing for you. So do join me at the Patreon family. The link's in the description below if you want to go deeper with this, or you can purchase the video for this off my website. And for my Patreon members who are following this, it's time now, my friends, to go a little deeper. Lovely Geminis, it's your turn now. We are exploring what is happening with this wonderful solar eclipse occurring at 9 degrees of Aries on the 29th of March. Very important partial solar eclipse. This is where it's happening in your 11th house, and this is where we can expect sudden changes and new beginnings to arrive in your life, where there's an important turning point that comes into your life through the 11th house stream. You're going to be initiating new things to do with the 11th house now. You're going to need to tap into your bravery and determination and self-assertion in 11th house realms now. You might even find that you have a desire for new experiences in the 11th house over the next 6 months. So what is this all about? Well, the 11th house is our friendships, and so we might be having a very different dynamic with friends now. Some of your friends might be leaving your life, Gemini, but don't fret. This is creating energetic space for new friends to come into your life. Let them go if they want to leave, and usually it'll be instigated by your friends. It won't be you causing the split. It'll be the friends that you have saying, I've had enough. I'm out of here. This relationship's not for me anymore. So changing dynamic with friends for our Geminis may be on the cards for some of you. And this is an important turning point that's going to, as I said, allow space for new friends to flow into your life. It's not that we have a limited capacity for friendship. You know, some of us have lots and lots and lots of friends. Some of us have less friends, but really quality, deep friendships. But what I can tell you with this energy is that there is going to be more space for a growth in the friendships that you've got, for new friends to come in, new networks, new connections, new friendship circles. So lots of benefit in that way. Like I said, it's a turning point, and it might be a turning point for you regarding some of the goals that you've set in the past. You might be throwing out old goals, old dreams, old aspirations, and creating a whole new set of ambitions based on some intuitive downloads that you get as a result of this eclipse energy. So what have your dreams always been for your life, and how are they changing now? You know, I'm not a Gemini person, but one thing that's happened for me over the last couple of months is, you know, I've always, everybody knows, I've always dreamed of having my own self-sufficient farm, and I always wanted it up in the realm where I come from, where my parents live, sort of up on the Murray River in Australia. But as life has progressed and sort of changes in my circumstances have unfolded, I'm finding that more and more the universe is directing me to a different destiny with the same desire, the same goal, the same dream, but in a different location. So this is my example, a turning point with your goals and dreams. If you wanted a self-sufficient farm in a certain area, this energy, for example, might be changing the direction of that self-sufficient farm to be in a different locality. You know, so it doesn't mean that you're throwing out all your goals and dreams, never to see them again. There's a shift, there's a change, there's a turning over a new leaf with how you are aspiring to that goal, that dream, that vision for your life. So I hope that example from my own life helps to understand the kind of shifts that might be happening. Now, this is the house of older siblings as well. And if you have an older sibling, not everybody does, but if you do, you might find that there is a change in the dynamic that you have with your older sibling, a change in the relationship, a change in how you're interacting with them. They might prove to be very important in your life over the next 6 months as this eclipse unfolds, or there might be just an easing off of the friendship, but with your older sibling. But more likely than not, because this is a welcoming in type eclipse energy rather than something going out, you're going to be more likely to be welcoming in a deeper connection with your older sibling, a deeper connection with how you might be working together, you might be living together, you might be spending more time together in some way. And I really do feel this eclipse energy, solar eclipse, is all about masculine energy, not the feminine. That's a lunar eclipse. Masculine energy is solar eclipse. So I feel that you're going to encounter the right people at the right time, probably a man, who will help you achieve your dreams and goals, help you generate more gainfulness in your life, my beautiful Gemini friends. You might meet them now, or you might already know them. But any interactions during this eclipse season are going to prove very financially fruitful for you, because that's the nature of the 11th house of rewards and gains. So yes, we can see some friendships going. We've talked about that, but you also might spend more time with certain friends now, or more time with a community or a group of like-minded people now. That doesn't mean living in a kibbutz or anything like that, but it might mean, just immersing yourself. Maybe you go on some sort of a retreat for like-minded people. I did that a couple of years ago with my husband David and I. We went to Utah, and we were just surrounded by people who thought and felt the same and respected each other's opinions when they were different. It was so powerful and so uplifting. And you might be experiencing that sort of thing as a result of this eclipse. It might really change your life. You might also be being more honest with friends now, getting real, getting full of truth now, sharing the truth with your friends, and being honest, being real, being your authentic self might actually endear yourself to any new friends you make, as well as old friends that you're maintaining as well. It can be that this eclipse can make you more emotional with friends than you normally would be, and they might be more responsive to your emotions than they normally would be as well. There's this heightened level of emotional energy brought about to your friendships by this eclipse too. Now, we can, as I said earlier, broaden our networks of friends, but also our business associates. And when we do that, we become more prosperous. So it's a good time to join a new organization. It's a good time to join a new group and increase your social circles as a result of this eclipse. Absolutely. Also, it's a really good time to help humanity or the world at large with this energy. You might really want to get on board with helping others in some way. It can be in an abstract way, of course, maybe donating to a cause. Some of you might really want to get involved one-on-one with things, of course, as well. So very worthwhile energy to sort of help humanity. Really, Gemini, you have a lot that you can contribute to the world right now in that way. You might be very interested in sort of things that are very different to you now. You're probably more tolerant and open-minded, and even a bit curious about things that aren't quite your mainstream, quite your usual sphere. So embrace that exploration of the different and the unusual. It will broaden your understanding and your mindset, and it's actually a really good time to help you get a grasp on where you're at in the world. It's a good time also to explore your dreams and help sharpen your focus on what you do want to accomplish, and reevaluate, as we've already alluded to, where you want to go in the future. All your hopes and dreams and wishes can come into focus. Like I said, getting rid of some, changing some, adding some, or making strong commitments now under this eclipse to some of your dreams that you've held dear to your heart. Now, I have so much more to say about this house of profit and gainfulness, my beautiful Gemini friends, and you can get the entire full-length report at the Patreon family, or you can go to my website and purchase the download there, but the link is in the description below. And for my Patreon members watching this already, time to dive deeper. Now we are all the way to the end of our cycle, and it's Taurus who are lucky last. Thank you for sticking with us, Taurus, right to the end. If we are Taurus, rising sun or moon, we are having the solar eclipse, the partial solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries on the 29th of March, occurring in our 12th house, the final house of the horoscope. So this is the realm where we can expect to see sudden changes and new beginnings arrive. This is the realm of the chart that is all about an important turning point in our life. This is where we're initiating new things in our life, and we need to tap into our bravery and determination and self-assertion to bring about our desire for new things in this area. So hang on to your hats, my beautiful, beautiful Taurus friends, because you are having an eclipse in the house of psychological downloads, psychic downloads that blow your mind, prophetic downloads. Don't discount anything that comes through for you now. Expect guidance in your dreams. Expect guidance in your visions. It will come for you. This is also where you're going to be experiencing some sort of turning point, and really it could manifest as a change in your heart, change from something from your past. Maybe you were wounded and traumatized as a child and now have a habit or a belief or a behavior that stems from that psychological traumatic wound. Well, this turning point can bring the healing that you need. And, you know, even if you had a good childhood, there might be some old belief system that you tapped into from your upbringing that is not serving you well now. You can absolutely start fresh, release it, let go, and consciously or unconsciously move into a whole new way of being. It is an exciting time for you, Taurus. Now, this said, it can be a really good idea to sort of take some time out to cope with these heightened energies, because the energies can be intense as you release that old psychological wound. And so if you need to rest. If you need to sleep. If you need to take a couple of days away at the beach, take a couple of days away at the beach. Have the break that you deserve. Have the holiday that your soul needs to process what it needs to process, and allow in this miraculous healing, because the 12th house is a house of miracles. When we clear out the old gunk from our past lives, or maybe early in our current life experience, we make space for miracles to enter in, healing to enter in. The divine touches our life in some way, and we're never the same. So we can have miraculous life turns around now, because our life is being healed at a very deep psychological level with this eclipse. The 12th house is also one of the houses of service. It's a house of compassion. So it's not so much sixth house energy, which is all about serving, helping, healing, fixing in a very practical way. It's about, your soft heart, your compassionate heart that wants to be a gift and a blessing in the life of others. So it's a good time maybe to volunteer or to give some sort of charity work because of your love for humanity, because of your love for people. This house, 12th house, also rules hidden things and things we don't know about. So there might be something going on behind the scenes that you aren't aware of. But there can also, because this is a energy of illumination, you can also have some kind of secret that is revealed now, something you didn't know about that was going on behind the scenes that is now exposed and made real and made available to you. So, make sure you watch what you say carefully. Don't let something slip accidentally. Get prepared to, to see something unfold. Somebody I know once had a secret, like they were well into their middle age, and a secret about their family came out that they had no idea of. And then all of a sudden it was exposed. This was in their family history, their family lineage, but it was hidden from them. They hadn't realized, and out it came. And so this is the kind of thing that can happen. You might let a secret slip through if you're not watching what you say, or you might discover some secret that has long been a skeleton in your family closet that you did not even know about. The 12th house is very much an energy of behind the scenes. So you could do more work behind the scenes now. You might be taking a back seat, or getting deep into some sort of isolated research to get done what needs to get done. A lot of movie directors have 12th house placements in their natal chart, and that's kind of like what this energy is all about. You don't see the director on the screen, but they're there behind it all, pulling the strings. And that's what you might be doing now, Taurus, more than anything. You mightn't be in the upfront position, but you might be calling the shots in some way, behind the scenes, in some situation in your life. You know, so it can look to all intents and purposes like you're in the back seat, but really you're the back seat driver, so to speak. I'd encourage you, Taurus, embrace openness, embrace honesty in your dealings with people now, because this is a secretive house. It's a house that can be connected with illusions and deceptions and lies. You don't want to go down that road because it creates bad karma. What you want to do is be real and open and authentic and honest, and then other people are more likely to be that way with you too, and you'll know where you stand. There's no illusions. There's no pulling the wool over your eyes. It sucks to have the wool pulled over your eyes. It sucks not to be able to see the truth. So make sure that you're honest and real with others, so they, you know, as within, so without, you receive that back from other people. This is also, the 12th house is about, as I've already said, taking some rest, taking some time out. It's about being alone too. So you might want to allow that time to replenish yourself by yourself. So don't be afraid to say no. My beautiful Taurus friends, you know, if you're being asked to 18th birthday parties, left, right and center, and you're like, oh my God, I just want a weekend at home, not always going out to this party and that party and blah, 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 blah. Well, put down your foot and say no. This eclipse gives you the power to assert yourself in that way, to embrace your courage and say, look, I don't have to go to every 18th birthday party on the cards. I want some me time. Use your assertion, Aries energy, to replenish yourself under this influence. Some time in seclusion is the only way that we can sometimes repair and heal, and that is the main focus of this energy of this eclipse. You know, get away from the distractions of life, get away from the day-to-day nitty-gritty, and get down to the healing that needs to happen, the rest and the restoration that needs to occur, so that you can live a fuller life going forward after this eclipse energy plays out. It's a good energy to clear your mind. You know, clear your mind by sort of finding peace within, doing therapy, regression therapy, art therapy, hypnotherapy, dance therapy, whatever kind of therapy you want to do. It can really be a great source of healing at the time of this eclipse. So get involved, even if it's just in your own lounge room at home, and you switch on some 5 rhythms dance therapy music, dance through it and see what comes up, you know, that you can transmute. Powerful, powerful time. Your ability to explore your subconscious is very high at this time. So any kind of therapy that you do is really powerful. And it's a good idea to use this energy, because the next set of eclipses that are coming for you are going to be in a house of rewards and gains. So the clearing out of the muck that you do now through therapy makes space for the next set of eclipses that are coming on this axis: rewards, gains, popularity, celebrity, 11th house, 5th house. So Taurus, do the healing, do the therapy, work with your subconscious now. You will not regret it, because it makes a path, it clears space for all the good things that are coming for you throughout the rest of this year, and the eclipses that will form in other areas of your chart. I have so much more to say about the blessing that's in store for you beautiful Taurus people, but you can get the entire report at my Patreon family page, links in the description below, or you can just simply purchase it from my website if you prefer. And for my Patreon members who are watching this, who've stuck with me to the very end, guys, it is time to dive in deeper for Taurus. Thank you one and all for participating in my eclipse videos for the start of this year. As you know, there'll be more at the end of the year when we have the second set of eclipses, but I do hope this eclipse video has been a blessing to you. May eclipse season be your friend.